Hey everybody, welcome to Comic Book Curation. I'm Polly, and joining me as always is Quiz. Quiz, how you doing?
As if this headache will go away, I will feel a
Drugs
lot
are your
better.
friend.
They are, and I've taken a fistful of them, and they're not working.
And rounding out our triumvirate of awesome, of course, is Jack from Bad Comic Reviews. Jack, how are you doing this week?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I got a new phone after being phoneless for weeks on end. I got a cheaper, older model of a still good LG phone. Pretty excited about that. And normally I would just say fuck it, and I don't want to stream tonight. I want to play with my new phone. I got home and there's my phone waiting for me on my doorstep. But no, damn it, we got a show to do. So my phone's just sitting there charging, and I'll do the setup later. Damn it, it's because I care about my audience. And actually,
Yes.
last week we ended up missing it because internet issues, and then the next day there was some IRL busyness going on, and then by that time it was the weekend, and then it was like, oh god damn it! So here we are the following week. So yeah, I definitely had to do a show tonight, no questions. The oh, look at that! Evolved Potatoes already got our links up in chat because Evolved Potatoes awesome. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And lots of things have been going on. Far too many to keep track of. Oh, the Whisper Network. I never realized that there were so many people out there in the world that were at such a desperate level of insecurity that any kind of source of power that they might feel was like the biggest drug in the world for them. That's what I think spurns on Whisper networks. We gotta cancel everyone. It makes me feel powerful to be able to like reach out with my phone and fuck people's lives up. You know?
Yeah, it's for
Okay,
people that couldn't get into human resources.
so elucidate me, please. Whisper Network?
Oh, you didn't read the article, dude. You're in
Mm,
for.
Yeah, it's a pretty big wild ride, man. Like a Whisper network, basically, like in the parlance, is people talking behind the scenes in private Facebook groups and through DMs and such, planning and plotting to. Did you know that so and so said something about this one person? Oh my god, that's so toxic.
Um,
You know.
Here,
So,
let me put it
so
very
there.
succinctly. It's typically found with full of cervexes.
I was gonna say it's an insufferable gossip. You mean?
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually not a
Okay.
bad description. Yes,
Yeah, but
insufferable gossips, and in ages prior, everybody gossip is a very human thing that some people unfortunately engage in to an unhealthy degree. But when you combine it with self-righteousness and the internet and the desire to destroy your enemies because you've built people up into being your fucking enemies that do very little to you, actually affect your life in no kind of way, yeah, lives get destroyed over it. Like, who are we going to cancel? It's part of cancel culture, basically. Whisper networks. Who are we going to go after? Who are we going to destroy? Aloysius Footpecker X, did you get the otter
Oh
painting up in the bar yet?
no.
No, I did not. But I have a Noir bar coming up this week, and I should get it up there for then. Otters playing poker, like after the famous dogs playing poker. Yeah, why wouldn't I
Oh
have that
yeah.
up in the bar? I mean, come on. Yeah,
Of
which
course.
it makes me think I should put some more stuff up in.
Did you at least extinguish the stool though?
Motherfucker, you know that stool's not on fire. Can you not recognize the rectangle in the wall made out of stone that's a fireplace? Jesus. No.
not. It should be because it's on fire.
I'm not that desperate for firewood yet. Noir bars fueled by blue coal. Yes, blue coal. It's the only coal you can trust, and you know it's quality because it's blue. Support blue coal.
Oh my god.
Bars in 1942, it's fine. There's a lot more problematic things going on in 42 than the color of your coal, let me tell you. Anyway, I was thinking that I should put some more things on Peter Parker and company's wall here, Angelica and Bobby's wall. What else should go out there? We got a comic book curation poster. We should put some problematic books on the bookshelf.
Well, I would say no. Major thing, but some DC art up there. So you've got DC art in a Marvel Comics setting.
You know what? That's not a bad idea. You know what else I should do is I just grabbed the screen. I don't know if you guys remember, but like that image is actually stretched to have it fill more space. The original image is much more 4x3 squashed. It's stretched a little. I should see if I can get it, because this is the famous room where you pull down the football trophy on the mantle, and the whole room flips over, and there's computers and stuff so they can track criminal activity and so forth. Have you ever noticed that? If you ever watched, this is from Spider. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, we're in some real inside baseball shit. The image you see this is supposed to be, in theory, the room that Quizjack and I are hanging out in. And when I thought, what comfortable rooms are there, or just sitting rooms in general that one could be in that are superhero related in a classic fun way before SJWs made the entire industry boring and annoying and full of tension. And we thought of the Hall of Justice, right? Which would have been good, but you don't get a lot of long shots where fucking Gleek and company aren't standing in the way. Remember Gleek?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it occurred to me, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, their super cool room in Aunt May's boarding house, right? With all the computers and stuff in it. And so there it is, but I should animate that to have the background so everyone can see all the computers. The poster flips around for a scoreboard, or not scoreboard, a map of the city. It's
Scoreboard of the city.
A scoreboard. It's a giant wire room. They're just taking bets on professional football and baseball. That's all. They're not superheroes at all.
Yeah, they're bookies.
I thought they were supposed to be funny.
They are, by taking their money and running numbers.
It always killed me because when they were, that's what brought to mind. I don't think there's an episode where they ever actually use any of that shit. I mean, it's there, but it'll be like, oh my God, there's a giant ice creature attacking the city. And so they're like, oh my God. And they'll pull the little trophy, and the room will flip around to reveal all the computers, and they'll do their change where Firestar does the blazy thing to get into her sexy cat suit, and Iceman goes into the block, turn the Iceman, Spider-Man just pulls his suit on. And then they jump out the windows. The fuck did you...
No, see, they left all the computers and stuff up so that the water from all that ice that Iceman blew out would set the place on fire, burn it down, and
Well, why did they just tell Firestar to light the place on fire if that's what they wanted?
Wanted to make it look like an accident when that annoying dog died.
Yeah, Miss fuck, what's the dog's name? Miss Funnywinkles? It's something like that. Well, hopefully. God, when cartoons were good and there was no tension, man, there was this great camp to them. It's like, it wasn't quite as far gone as the camp of Super Friends, but it was good. I was watching an episode of Spider-Man's Amazing Friends a couple months ago. It was crazy that
what?
Miss Lion. Thank you.
I'm quiet. What?
I don't know. You sound fine to me.
I don't know. Yeah, you sound fine to me too.
Quiet, Sinatra. You're the one who should be quiet. Super quiet.
Can't quiet Sinatra. It's not.
Well, not all of us have his super
possible.
fancy NASA mic. Every time I see somebody on a stream using his mic, I'm like, that's a mic Sinatra has. Man, fuck that guy. Me off. Jack and Quiz are super low. All right, fine. We'll adjust their volume.
Yeah, I just I was listening as well. We are. I mean, I could get closer to the mic.
Don't do
that. Would help.
I hate how there's 7 different levels that all affect ultimate volume. It's ugh. Why aren't there like system-wide presets for these sort of things? All right, talk, you guys. Say something. Talk about your
something.
There.
Things and
There.
stuff.
Is everyone better? Okay, good. All right. Anyway, moving on. So I was watching an episode of Spider-Man's Amazing Friends. Remember Kraven the Hunter? Right?
Of course.
Yeah.
He's got this great like Eastern European accent because he's whatever, Vladimir Kravinoff. I forget his first name, but his last name's Kravinoff. And he's like Mr. Super Hunter, who's super sexy and all the women want him, and he's like a celebrity. that's on the cover of all the newspapers, and Angelica Firestar's like, oh my god, he's so sexy. Up until he kidnaps her. It's worth watching that episode because he says all these super creepy things to her, and she's like, oh my god, he's so handsome, and look at that mustache. Oh, and look at his muscles. And she's fine with it right until he throws her into a cage and is going to use her powers to make himself the dominator of the world or whatever. It's great. It's
and his name Sergei Nikolaevich Kravenov.
Nikolaevich. That's great. Old time Marvel's the best for naming people. I mean, they didn't even bother with shitty names like Snowflake and Safe Space and Screen Time. You had giant interdimensional dragons named Fing Fang Foom. Remember Fing Fang Foom?
Like, well, yeah, awesome. You got to summon Red Ronin to go take him out. Look, see, now things are problematic, Polly, and you have to show that you're creative in different ways by like giving in to the most pussy thing possible, like Safe Space and Snowflake, and subverting expectations by making them exactly what people thought they were. Because it's not edgy. You don't want to have things that are offensive, like guy named the Mandarin, who's God forbid Asian and a bit of a stereotype.
But he wasn't in the movie.
No, in the movie he wasn't, but they also alluded to in the short that they did that that's not the real Mandarin, that there really is a Mandarin because he's going to be in the Shang-Chi movie.
Ah.
Oh, I thought you were going to keep going there. All right, never mind.
Nope, that's all I really had.
Oh, god damn it. Yeah, well, I'm perfectly happy for NoScript to block as many things as it wants. It's just, can't it pop up on my second screen so chat doesn't have to stare at it too? Right. All right.
Nah, that's fine.
So, yeah,
great.
I know. Speaking of modern era fuckery going on, the Dungeons and Dragons bullshit never ends. Oops.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, I personally believe that no one is actually doing that.
Making it.
No one is actually calling for the removal of the term race.
No, I don't think so either.
No one is doing that.
Oh, I bet there's some Portlanders out there. Because remember, Wizards of the Coast is located up in Seattle. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of these loony Antifa types are working there. So it wouldn't surprise me. I'm just saying there's probably some intern in the office is like, do you know how problematic this sounds? Oh my god.
Fuck them. I don't give a shit what they think. And they should not be these people dictating policy.
Well, again, the problem always comes back to they don't understand the difference between race and ethnicity. The creatures in here are literally a different race. It's not code for something. It's not, they're subhuman. No, they're literally not humans.
Right?
Yeah, they are
dwarves are entirely different.
This is so much that Shady sent us this article. Thank you, Shady. Dungeons and Dragons could be doing away with the term race and character creation, and fans are suggesting plenty of better alternatives. No, they're not. It's just like Quiz says. Yeah, there's no who's doing this. Come on, the angry 4% of Twitter. I mean, fuck. Back in June, Dungeons and Dragons principal rules designer Jeremy Crawford, a spineless individual apparently, responded to a query about a yet-to-be-announced Dungeons and Dragons product. However, the tweets recently resurfaced on Reset Era.
What's that? What's Reset Era?
You don't know what Reset Era is?
Just... No, I'm still kind of new to a lot of the drama shit that goes on around here.
No, this isn't drama. The Reset Era is ostensibly for video games, but it's a forum that is as social justice as you can possibly get. People get banned there all the time, and their rationale is always things like unintentional homophobia and transphobia and shit like that. It's hilarious.
They got They got
sounded-
hypersensitive mods, man, and which creates the kind of environment. It's a top-down thing where no discussing anything of protected classes of, and not like classes like in D&D, but like IRL stuff. It's a horrible fucking place of over moralizing, and it's like you think people would go there to talk about video games, and it's like no, people go there to talk about Trump. It's like what the fuck, right? Anyhow,
So it's Reddit.
Okay, here's something that I can read just real quick. Make me wonder if the mod team, or the quote, post here. Make me wonder if the mod team think they're doing a huge charity favor for others by being a mod and sees themselves as victims. This is absolutely what they're doing. They have a siege mentality and genuinely view themselves as the most oppressed and put upon group on the forum. We have tried various forms of communication solution finding with the staff over the years, and it is a clear nothing is working. The only way to fix Reset Era's issues is a complete top-down cleansing of the entire admin and mod staff, followed by the transparent election of a new staff members from within the user base as chosen by the user base. The rot is systemic and everyone needs to go. User has been banned, duration pending, long history of hostility towards staff, recent ban for spreading conspiracy theories about moderation.
Wait, so just saying there's a problem will get you banned by the
Yes.
mod because you're
Yes.
dude, that's a shit show worth watching, but not being in.
Oh, there's a whole Twitter account that I suggest you follow called Reset Era Takes.
Oh, this sounds
so
fucking awful.
needless to say, these those tweets resurfaced over on Reset Area. Now I'm sure you're no longer surprised as to why it would pop up there of all places.
There's no credibility in saying that it's at Reset Era. This person has immediately lost all credibility by using them as a source.
Well, it just is the original tweets themselves, which come down to this. Jeremy Crawford saying that later this year we will release a product not yet announced that offers a new way for players to customize their characters' origins, etc., and increases can come from being an elf, a dwarf, or one of D&D's many individual playable folk. Somebody responded on Twitter, again, the Angry 4% I was referring to. I noticed the word race isn't used. Is Wizards of the Coast, who owns Dungeons and Dragons, looking to exchange that word for another, perhaps more accurate word? I feel species captures what is really better, but it feels a bit too sciencey. Excuse me, scientitious was the word you were looking for?
Sciency? Really?
Crawford responds, fun fact, the word species has been used since at least the 14th century, which is the time period in which D&D often emulates. Fun ponage. Okay, people have taken to Reset Era thread linked above to offer their own substitutes, with many players expressing the species does in fact sound a bit too science-oriented. Ancestry is the best word to substitute. Good on them in any...
Ancestry? Jesus Christ, ancestry? What are you building an ethno state? Look, species is used differently in D&D. It's used for like non-intelligent, non-humanoid animals. Race is used for the humanoids.
Yes.
So orcs are a species. Orcs are a race. Dogs are a species. So unless you have dogmen, they're not considered a race. They're considered a species.
They do. They're called gnolls.
Yeah, I know that, but my example still stands. A regular canine dog is not considered a race; it's considered a species.
Yes.
Whereas a gnoll is a humanoid, so it would be a race.
A race. Yes.
They do that specifically to distinguish between the humanoids and the non-humanoids, or the genus. Like you can have a race of dragons within other dragons, but dragon is a species. Yes. That makes sense.
Cynical Lindsay says, I love the phrase Gary of Nerdrotic coined to describe these people. Cultural vandals. Yeah, well, that's just... What's up, Michael Hatfield? How's it going? Just game wreckers. I think the best analogy for them is locusts. I love, like, God, it was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, Sargon, somebody asked Sargon of Akkad in a live stream, when do SJWs stop? Like, in your opinion, at what point? And he goes, when there's no one left to boss around. because that's what they do. So
Yeah.
they're going to move into like an industry or a genre or whatever, a company, your household, like, you know, and when everyone else is left and there's no one left to boss around, like locusts, they will move on to the next farmer's field and devour all of their property.
These people are unimaginative parasites who hate fun. They cannot create on their own. They can only destroy. And they'll find a hobby, latch onto it, slowly gnaw it away. I mean, they're doing this with fucking knitting, for God's sake. I've heard people complaining about the knitting. They'll infiltrate anything.
Yeah, and it's not that they're like, oh, the knitting is problematic. It's just that they show up in knitting forums and want to fucking talk politics. And it's like, I want to talk about purling and dropping stitches. Fuck off. It's everywhere. So anyway, to round this article off, other suggestions for names other than race include lineage, kin, folk, and more. The only unanimous consensus appears to be the fact that race needs to go, and it looks like it's gonna go. Wonderful.
Wizards of the Coast sell Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it seems like it's a thorn in their side they don't really want anyway. Right?
Well, here's the thing, right? D&D needed to be sold by the original holders, TSR. Gary Gygax couldn't hold on to it anymore. He couldn't market it or anything like that, so he sold it off to Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast, you have been doing everything in your power to ruin D&D ever since you got it.
Yeah, that's one of the problems, though, is like D&D was flagging due to a lot of mistakes by TSR. There's whole articles on it you could go look up.
Yeah.
But Wizards doesn't seem to know how to handle the property. And on top of that, they're infiltrated with all these PC social justice types. And there's so much stuff in there that would be considered problematic because that's all they care about. They cared about having fun. None of this would be happening. They would be doing way better. But the more they lose money on it, the more they entrench further, saying, well, we just haven't fixed enough.
Well, see, it's spitting in the face of the legacy that they are attempting to perpetuate, and they're not anymore. They're straight up perfectly fine with ruining a legacy, like the comic book industry.
Yeah, they don't care about legacy anymore. They did initially, but they don't anymore because now they've replaced everybody that cared about it with people that want to. Well, we like the legacy, but we need to fix the problems. And the problems are all these nonsense things that they don't
Speaking of nonsense things in the comic book
means
industry, Marvel Comics quietly drops longtime X-Men codename Scalp Hunter over potential concerns of racism. It looks like he's like blowing scalps off, peeling caps, man. It doesn't look like he's hunting for them. You know? Marvel has quietly dropped the code name of a longtime X-Men villain, John Greycrow, aka Scalp Hunter, due to the term's alleged racist connotations. Hey, anyone can cut a scalp off, all right? It's not. Fuck.
Not relegated to just the Native
They're
Americans.
just famous for it. It's different. One such villain is named John Greycrow, aka Scalp Hunter, who debuted in Uncanny X-Men number 210 in 1986 as an assassin for Mr. Sinister's group of marauders. Greycrow's... Why do I have such a hard time saying that? Greycrow's mutant powers is to reconfigure machinery. That's dumb. You're Forge.
He's an evil force.
She's okay. During the Mutant Massacre storyline, Greycrow joined the Mutant assassins known as the Marauders and assisted them in their slaughter of the Morlocks. Now, the Morlocks are representative of the Native Americans, so it's really problematic that there's this guy named Scalp Hunter killing Native Americans. I don't know. I just figured somewhere.
Does he? The Morlocks aren't Native Americans. They're sewer dwellers.
It's emblematic of the way that they're seen as being subhuman in the cis white Western patriarchal culture.
The Morlocks are subhuman.
Well, it's also a problem because it shows like inter tribe violence because Greycrow's an American Indian too, but they keep calling him a native, and it's a problem. He is an
We're making all this up. It's but you believed it, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Because it's believable. The people that, I mean, come on, the Morlocks, yeah, you're right. They are. There's subhuman species and they live subterranean and stuff. I mean, come on, man. If they go after orcs in a number of different settings, be it, Game of Thrones or fucking 40K or whatever is being racist, it's just a matter of time until they find out about the Morlocks.
Well, the orcs aren't racist in 40K. They're indicative of soccer hooligans from England. If anything, that this SJW should be fucking championing the 40K orcs because it's making fun of Whitey.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Quiz thinks soccer hooligans are subhuman.
They are.
Marvel had recently announced for the character's original name in the recap of the new page of the Hellion series first issue. Jack, they're still doing this.
Oh, the big old fucking blank page that you have to pay for.
Oh, what's worse is they have one at the beginning and then a 2-page spread with the giant X symbol and the credits. Bunch of wasted space. And then they'll have like 3 or 4 more sprinkled in. And it ends up being like between 4 and 6 pages of this
Honestly,
shit.
to tell you the truth, if it
Marvel.
was one or the other, I wouldn't mind so much. I don't mind stylistic twists, but you're right, Jack. It's somewhere between 4 to 7 pages wasted in every issue, in every floppy, 23-page floppy of this, guys. Like, chat, like you see these giant white fucking pages, and it's like, okay, and the language of Krakoa that only mutants can speak, blah blah blah. I don't mind the lore creation in and around Krakoa and all these other things. I mean, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but somebody's trying, god damn it. You know what I mean? As opposed to just having them sit around and eat things.
No, they're busy being an ethno state now, but yeah, it's just a bunch of wasted space. Look at how much white is on there.
And if
that at best could have been a half
worst color.
Well, yeah, the most evil. But I mean, you could have summed that up in half a page and put the credits and the indicia at the bottom and saved 2 other pages.
So as you can see from the evidence here, they do list like the cast of characters that are going on. And I actually kind of get this idea. They did it on the intro pages for a while from Marvel, going with the notion that every comic is somebody's first comic. So the cast of characters are sort of like reiterated again and again for anyone who might be picking it up in the middle of the story. Okay. And there's Scalp Hunter, bottom left. But then, what do they mean by quietly dropped it? Because we go down here, oh, now he's just Grey Crow. Because scalp hunting is problematic. Yeah. They should have went with Rain Dancer. That's not violent. Rain's cool and nourishes the earth, and it
But it could be said to be even more racist.
That's the joke, quiz.
Oh, okay.
And they didn't even have a scene where he saw a bunch of trash and a tear came down.
Even though that guy is Italian.
Yeah, I was Sicilian at that. I love it. Which segues into this thing going on at Marvel that I find hilarious. Former Marvel staffers doubt companies pledged to diversity because Marvel came out and they did the whole Black Lives Matter where we support diversity with your entire 2 black people on your editorial staff.
And one of them being Ta-Nehisi Coates? Oh, that's a big fuck up.
Well, mostly for their business quality.
Well, that and gotta remember, man, if Ta-Nehisi Coates isn't satisfied with literally anything else, he ain't gonna be satisfied with Marvel's approach to diversity.
There's Ta-Nehisi Coates. I mean, it's to discuss it in and around that man will never be satisfied. He'll never be happy with anything. I think approaches the issue incorrectly. He literally makes his money being a race hustler, in my opinion. So therefore, to say, well, when are you going to be happy? What are your criteria of success? There's no such thing. It would be like asking the guy who's taking betting slips, when is football done? What do you mean? It's never done. There's always another game to be played. There's always more bets to be laid. This guy's entire livelihood is based in keeping these problems going. That's why he never established his criteria for success. Like when we need to have a national conversation, which looks like what, Ta-Nehisi Coates? He doesn't say. He gets very vague in general, and of course he does, because that's how he makes his money, by complaining. Current and former staffers of Marvel Entertainment are doubtful that the comic company's commitment to diversity, noting that its 18% editorial staff has no black employees and only 2 people of color, Business Insider reports. Oh, I had it wrong. So it was 2 people of color and no black employees. Thank you for capitalizing black, because that shows your wokeness, CBR. Well done. Wait a minute. Why isn't a people of color? Why isn't it POC? Like, I mean, this should be capitalized too.
That'd get weird, wouldn't it?
And you get this. Excuse me. Jeez, sorry. It's humid as hell. I don't know why my throat's dry. It's so humid, so humid. Whew. Tell Weebo Jones, man, I need one of them little plastic kiddie pools inside for me to sit in when I stream. Sure, there'd be a lot of splashing about, but whatever. At least I wouldn't be fucking dying over here. Anyway, people are actually taking this seriously because Business Insider is the originator of this. Dan Fan did a video about this. I saw a number of other people are talking about it on Twitter, all because Business Insider's reporting on it. Guys, I don't care if they've actually got people of color on there. There's lots of talented writers that are like, fuck, I gotta sound like classic liberal on this. I want talent. I don't want certain skin colors. But don't you understand? Well,
you monster.
They bring diverse perspectives and blah blah blah. Like, oh god, yeah, I want diverse stories in that. I don't want the same story told over again. But I don't want a bunch of Ta-Nehisi Coates race hustling. And the fact that it demonstrates he's woke by one simply having him there when he has no history of writing fiction, unless you consider his entire set of essays nothing but hateful embitterment fiction, which in my opinion wouldn't be the most unfair description. Anyway, yeah. It doesn't do anything just to have somebody who's, oh, well, we got an Asian. Who are they? They're Asian. Like, no, I mean, are they a good writer, good artist, good whatever the fuck? Are they good at editing in the sense of like organizing storylines and plot points and keeping all the artists and writers working efficiently and effectively? I mean,
yeah, they just want tokenism, not somebody that's qualified for the job, just somebody that'll sit there and shut up and be like, oh, I'm the black guy. That's what it sounds like.
Tristan O'Leary asks, does anyone know where to get noir comics? Like, if you're talking like old-timey detective comics and not like Batman detective comics, but like, you know, noir-esque detective comics, go for old pulp stuff. A lot of it's available for cheap. Jack, back me up on this. There's great old-timey stories that are... There's pulp magazines that are written, like they're actual novelette stories.
Yeah. I was going to say, you may want to clarify there, because pulp doesn't necessarily mean comic books either, because, you know, pulp magazines were almost all literary work.
But if you... I mean, there's you can't really go wrong with anything Shadow. It's always going to like the Shadow, whether it's the DC series that Quiz was collecting from the 70s or the IDW Shadow series, the Shadow 1943, Hitler's Astrologer is fantastic. Yeah, if you go anything Shadow, it's always going to have a detective noir vibe to it, because yes. And like we have all recommended here, Marvel Noir, any one of them, X-Men, Spider-Man especially, Punisher, are all fantastic, worth your reads.
Don't read the Fantastic Four.
You didn't like it?
I don't.
I hate it.
The X-Men one, in my opinion, was a massive letdown. It was X-Men in name only.
I didn't read that one. I read the that new Spider-Man noir was fairly weak. Get the older one, but the Fantastic Four one really didn't do anything, fortunately. But yeah, I mean, I'm a bit more involved in the comics than most people. So if you're just a normie looking for something to read, give it a shot. But Titan Comics did a whole noir line. They did Mickey Spillane's Mike Hammer. Those were pretty good. I reviewed a couple of those, but they did a couple of other noir ones that I didn't read that were supposed to be pretty good. So I would look into those.
Hey, Far. I looked at Punisher Noir. It was pretty pricey. Is it worth it? All comics like nowadays are pretty pricey, unfortunately. I thought it was. Punisher was a good read and has a reread value to it, which is rare for comics published past 2000. You know it.
Yes. I would say another really good one too. If you can find it, you can probably find it on a digital edition really easy. Finding a physical copy is going to be a little bit more difficult. But Batman Noir Alley, I actually pitched that one.
I Tristan, one thing that I would recommend, like if you're just looking for to read but not to possess paper, like I mean, I think all of us here like our. I forgot to turn the noir pop-ups off. Oh well, it's not like I'm professional. Shit. Thank you. Next 6 minutes for the $2 donation. Hello, chat people. Polly, Quiz, and Jack will. Oh no, man, this is Kyle. Excuse me, not next 6 minutes. What the hell? I'm going to need to reload my second computer that's got Streamlabs on it. It's showing that is from next 6 minutes when it's actually is from This Is Kyle. Anyway, sorry about that. This is Kyle. Thank you for the donation, and hello to you too. Thank you very much.
Hi.
So anyway, if you're looking to just read, there are a number of sites online that have just read comics like online, especially if it's 1930s and 40s material, like you said you were looking for, where you can just read them. Google around, you will find it's like read comics online. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how they get away with the copyright stuff because some of the stuff in the late 30s and early 40s is still under copyright, so I don't get it, but whatever. They're there. They're up.
Yeah, if you want some public domain stuff that's fired from copyright, go over to the Internet Archive.
Yeah, man. Oh, good call. Absolutely. Go to Internet Archive. A lot of great and if you do sign up, which just requires an email address to sign up to Internet Archive, you can borrow stuff that is under copyright still, and there are a lot of old-timey comics there. And meaning you have access to it for a week through your IP, and then you don't have access to it anymore. And all you got to do is sign up, which just requires an email address.
Yeah, they should have some pulps on
definitely
there,
worth it. So anyway, back to the story. On July 6th, a staff memo from Marvel president Dan Buckley stated the company would discern what's keeping Marvel from recruiting and fostering more BIPOC talent. I hate that so much.
BIPOC.
Examine its culture to do better at recruiting and retention and create works to reach and represent an even broader audience. You know what Dan Fan pointed out, which was like the kind of thing that you shouldn't point out because you'll get called a white supremacist or something for saying so. It's like if you have 18 people and 2 of them are black, which she was under the misunderstanding that it's actually people of color. She's like, you realize that's like representative, right?
Yeah.
Monster.
Which is why people stopped using the word equality and representative and started saying hiring equity and equitable hiring, because that word equity has nebulous edges to it in terms of its definition. We can make it mean whatever we want and start talking about historical injustices and all sorts of other things where things that aren't equal at all and aren't representative at all are somehow equitable. But great.
Yeah.
Since 2015, Marvel has had 2 capital black employees on its editorial staff, both assistant editors. One left this year, quote, after 5 years without promotion or a raise. Well, it sounds like Marvel's full of shit and just virtue signaling. What do you know? A female staffer worked there 3 years without a raise or a promotion and left. She got a promotion within a year at another comics company. Also, during Alonso's tenure from 2011 to 2017, Marvel introduced the Miles Morales Spider-Man, Jane Foster's Thor, Kamala Khan as Miss Marvel, and made Sam Wilson the new Captain America. Sales slumped. Why? I need a I need a slide whistle for shit like that.
Right? Nice.
And the company refocused on, quote, core Marvel characters, with president of sales David Gabriel telling ICV2 that we have heard people didn't want any more diversity. Remember how quickly he had to walk that back? That's what
he gets for being
I only remember him saying that. I don't remember him having
he
to
did,
walk
man.
it back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The hate mobs came out like with virtual pitchforks. It was, how dare you? It's like, this is what, as the sales guy, he was being told by comic store owners and by general people out there and by distributors that people are sick of forced diversity. This is what he was hearing and was only repeating it. not his personal opinion. How dare you repeat what people are telling you that are in your very line of business?
Well, look, those fuckers need to know their place and just sell the stuff. It's not the creatives and whiners' jobs to actually go buy anything or support the industry. That's on those evil retailers. They
Or
need to shut up and do as they're told.
or promote it, because God knows that their social media isn't for promoting their comic, it's to berate other people.
Dude, there's no time to promote when you're out fixing the world of all the injustice.
Oh, hey, Ebony Williams, welcome back. I so they want more female characters, so they do Jane Foster, Thor. It's okay. Look, let me give you just a little example, like just for Marvel, right? Black Widow, longtime character, was kind of a side character that just interacted with different people here and there, right? But she's got an interesting backstory. She's kind of cool, has a cool character design. Natasha Romanoff, assassin, spy, whatever. Lots of cool shit going on with her. And her comics don't sell that bad because they tend to have okay writing. I'm not personally a fan. Eric July is a huge fan of it. So it's like, there's quality to be found there. Yeah. As opposed to just sort of making a male character female, take a female character and reinvigorate them. Monica Rambeau. Wait, we want to do black female characters. There is a really cool character. Update her, reinvigorate her.
Make her lesbian.
What?
Well,
That's what they do. That's how they reinvigorate characters.
That is the point, Polly.
We got to bring this character back. They're gay now.
So they have Monica Rambeau in the Captain Marvel film, and what do? They make her the blonde, blue-haired white girl sidekick to kind of like include her with apparently plans for a future spin-off or something. That's not reinvigorating a character. That's squeezing a character into, because Monica Rambeau was Captain Marvel for a while, for a good little while,
Yes.
And it's like, oh well, we want some BIPOC characters in this film because we don't want the completely undeserving, privileged white girl who never shuts up about the patriarchal oppression she deals with. God, why did they hire her?
Oh my God. Well, no, okay. Here's the thing, right? If Brie Larson actually believes the shit that she says, she would have raised a stink about Monica Rambeau. So we know that she's a disingenuous cunt.
Yeah, good point.
And that's all we need to point out.
And
is the fact that she doesn't put her money where her mouth is. Same with you, Mark Ruffalo. I'll DM you my PayPal account, Mark Ruffalo. If your millions of dollars is burdening your socialist conscience, I can give you a link to the proletariat, you Mr. Bourgeoisie. Give me some of your money. Give me money.
He's a champagne socialist quiz. You're not getting.
Not practicing what he preaches.
Quiet plebeian.
Well, here's one article that like I actually haven't read, but I'm curious what it says because I dig Anthony Mackie. Don't say something stupid, Mackie, please. I dig you as Falcon. I dug you in Altered Carbon. I don't Mackie, don't say something stupid. Okay, here we go. Anthony Mackie doesn't believe Marvel has a racism problem. It has an unawareness problem.
Well, I mean, yes.
Not in the way he means it, but yes.
Falcon and Winter Soldier star Anthony Mackie clarified his statements about Marvel's lack of diversity and detailed his efforts to correct the problem. He played the titular role in the upcoming Disney Plus series Falcon and the Winter Soldier in his return of recent comments about Marvel Cinematic Universe's diversity problem. Expounding on his earlier statements, Mackie explained it's not a problem of racism per se, but a form of unawareness. Quote, I don't think what's happening is a racism problem. He told Fatherly. Fuck is Fatherly?
That's a website.
Thank you. This is Kyle. Remember when people wanted to tell stories rather than being activists? Yeah, I know. I miss those days.
Yeah, it was. Man. Seems like a long time ago. Yeah, I think Fatherly is owned by the same people that own The Root.
Oh, they're part of that network, like with Gizmodo and everything?
I think so. If not, they might have used to be. I used to submit a lot of articles from them on MSS News back in the day. Oh, thank you, Evolved Potato. Right now, I am putting a link in the chat that may or may not be for a site that I used to read comics online for free. Probably, maybe.
Mhm. Oh yeah, that was a little while up. You can scroll up. He posted a link to readcomiconline.to.
Nice.
And thank you. This is Kyle. Here, I found some homeless person, quote, sleeping at work today and decided they should make a donation to you. I doubt they're going to need the money anymore. Thanks, Kyle.
Well, I mean, that was very generous of that homeless man.
It was a future donation to the Central Planning Communist Committee. Right. Let's continue Mackey's quote here. He says, I think it's an unawareness problem. With Marvel, I really think with most companies, they feel like they're doing what they should be doing. In no way, shape, or form isn't enough. Well, hope he goes on with this. Previously, he pointed out that Black Panther had plenty of representation behind the camera, but also the studio was sorely lacking when it came to other MCU projects. Now, as the lead of a new MCU show, he's taking upon himself to hold others accountable in order to bring about change. Quote, my big thing is put your money where your mouth is. You can't cast a black dude as one of your main superheroes and not expect him to have that conversation, he explained. It's just in my DNA to have that conversation. It's a huge opportunity for me to be part of the Marvel Universe, so it's my job to make sure that your Marvel Universe is as good as it can be. That's really vague, Mackie. According to Mackie, his experiences inform his decision to call it a lack of diversity when he sees it. He mentioned that offices in the industry reflect the reality, and if the office is mostly white, that is what will be represented on screen. Quote, the blessing about this is I can go into these meetings and say, the next time I go into this meeting, I don't want to be the only black person here. Black capitalized. He said, when I did Altered Carbon, when they did make me the offer, I said, it's very important to me that there be at least one of the directors is female. It's very important to me at least one of the directors be capital black. Now,
But why though?
you know what?
Shouldn't you just say I want the director to be very good and listen to me as an actor for my
and not
input?
dismiss my opinion simply because I'm here to be black. And it's like, so
right?
you and I since identitarianism is such a big issue, I mean, why not be, well, I know why, but why not be a journalist just for the novelty of it and fire back at him? Why do you have such a problem with Asian directors? Oh, I didn't mean, what? No, what did you mean then? Because you don't want Asian directors? I mean, you realize they're the most populated people on earth, right? What about South Asians? You got a problem with Indian directors? Why do you hate Indian people so much, Anthony Mackie? It's like, if you mean I just don't want to see so many white people in the room, then go ahead and say it. And yeah, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I'll say the other thing. Mackie, how many people do you deal with in Hollywood that are white? Or are they white and Jewish?
It was nice talking to you guys.
I'm just, nobody ever points this out. And I'm just, everybody
good night,
talks about
everybody.
this ethnic consistency. Nobody ever points out that ethnic over-representation. And personally, it's like, well, what? They own a studio. They put their money at risk. They personally were invested in it. I don't have a problem with that. But the comment is always over-representation. Oh, it's white people that are overrepresented. Actually, there's lots of ethnicities that are overrepresented, lots of them that are underrepresented. Why do you have such a problem with Hispanic directors, Mackie? Or is it you just don't want white directors?
I think we all.
I mean, I don't have a problem with the representation of Jews in Hollywood. I mean, fuck it. Like, who cares? Yeah. It's, but the overrepresentation and underrepresentation seems to be the guiding principle here. But yet there's certain things you call out constantly that are called out constantly, and other things that are not. And it's bullshit. It's like, oh, I want at least one black director because you don't want Hispanic directors. No, that's not what you mean. So you mean you just don't want white directors. Yeah, ask the question. Don't quit being vague. Because, I mean, how are you supposed to see that identitarianism is ultimately self-defeating bullshit if you don't ask questions like that? Saying.
Well, again, it's the fact that there's no media outlet that's going to ask those questions, Ollie. We all know for a fact that the only thing that Access Media does is they lob softball questions at these people for their woke
I-
answers.
I
We
hear
all
you.
knew this.
And when you had Altered Carbon season 2, it's like there was a lot of representation there. Actually, the main character was you, Mackie, who was black, and the main supporting character was black, and then the other supporting character was black. People joked that it was Wakanda in the future, like that.
Look, that's not
But
enough.
I mean,
though,
but that's
though.
that's
They
not
got that.
representation. That's the cast being black, but there wasn't enough representation behind the screen. This is what I mean by the vagueness of representation. He said with Black Panther there was representation behind the camera. Okay, Mackie, again, I understand why access journalists aren't asking these questions or pointing these things out, but it's like, Mackie, that wasn't representative. The cast, except for the one CIA guy, was all black. Everybody behind the camera was all black. That's not representative. That's homogeneous.
Well, it depends on how you perceive representation. The idea now is that representation secretly means get rid of the white people. So by that standard, it was representative, but it wasn't enough to have all the on-screen people or the vast majority of them be black. Now they have to replace the writers, directors, the key grips, the gophers. Everything has to be a diversity hire person of color. It doesn't matter if they're qualified or good at the job. You just got to get that warm body in there to be representative. That's what they're really saying.
It was like the op-ed that we read that we made such a big hairy deal out of, and I think that it was important because it was finally somebody of this opinion being honest, saying we like these movies because it gets butts in seats and a way to push our social message, and the point is to get rid of every character who's what? Pale, male, and stale. Thank you. Thank you for being honest. Just say it. If that's what you're after, then that's what you're after.
Like Assassin just said, it's never going to be good enough. They're always going to push. They're always going to virtue signal. And they're always going to demand changes because the revolution can never end. You always have to keep going and having a struggle. That's why you'll always be at war with Oceania.
What did Australia do this time?
What didn't they do? They irritated our Chinese overlords by asking, well, who gave the sniffles to the monkeys. Nope, not okay. Australia, you know what you did.
I make that joke every time.
It's for somebody being someone who's watched Altered Carbon seasons 1 and 2. 2 wasn't as good as 1, and it had nothing to do with the actors. It was a script problem. Absolutely was a script problem. Even one of the best outstanding characters in it, Poe, and then the main character played by Mackie, who's like constantly body switching because it's like the nature of it. You have like a stack which contains your personality and consciousness, and you can switch sleeves or bodies. You know what I mean? And in this iteration in season 2, he's in the body of Mackie, right? And he played it well because Mackie always plays his stuff well. He's fucking top of his game. He's good at what he does. Yeah. Mackie, I'm not watching you because you're black. I'm watching you because you're good at what you do. And so were the directors of Black Panther as a quality film. I think it was overrated because it could have hardly been more highly rated.
Well, I didn't see it because I wasn't allowed. I'm not part of the cool kids club. All spelled with K's.
I remember them saying that. If you don't want to see it, don't come. It's not for you. It wasn't made for you. Like, let me tell you something. A $200 million film that only the African-American demographic goes to see would fail instantly simply because there aren't enough people to support it. $200 million films that have $250 million worth of global advertising need like the entire globe to go see it. It's like, well, it wasn't made for you. Yeah, they make films for China. It's not made for me either. What's your point? No, tell me I'm wrong about that.
No,
when they make global films, they're making them for China. They're not making, that's why you had John Boyega shrunk down on the poster. Oh, we don't want too many black people in the film. Hey, Mackie and other people who have this issue, your problem isn't the white man this time. Go tell fucking the CPP. They're the ones who don't want to see this shit. And that's who the films are being made for.
I gotta wonder, one very important thing about that is that how did Black Panther do in China? Did it?
People estimated that that's why there was the huge Korean sequence in Korea in there, just to well, shit, we better.
Well, I was gonna say, you know what they could have done? They could have chroma keyed it out and Simpsonified them, made them all yellow.
Wow. All right. Well, we are on a roll tonight. It's been fun, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Look, I think that the key problem with your argument is that Asians are considered white now, so they are targeting the white demographic by going to China.
Sorry, I'm just playing with my new phone. It's so cool.
Um,
Anyway,
damn it.
Oh, Bianca said it bombed in China.
Did
That's
it?
not
I don't know.
surprising. They do not like Africans, because a lot of the African people in China are drug
does everyone remember when Spawn, like as a comic and then later as a movie, and huge IP in general, came out, and the most important thing was that Al Simmons was black? No, I don't remember that either.
Yeah,
No, nobody cared.
nobody cared.
I went to see that movie because I thought it looked cool.
Well, I'm
Oh
talking about
fuck!
the
And
comic.
it had Michael Jai White. Like, how awesome is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of like, why is it that Mackey's saying it's like, the next time I come in here, I want to not be the only black person in the room? The question I would ask back to Mackey is, okay, wait a minute. Did you have somebody specific in mind that you wanted as advertising rep, as distribution rep, or whatever? Is there a particularly talented person that you had in mind that is Asian or black or whatever the fuck? Because if so, hit me up with their CV. You know what I mean? Like saying, like, just, make sure that there's less white faces in here next time I walk in. That doesn't mean very much other than like vague identitarian racism to me.
Okay, wait, hold on. I have to bring this up. I went and started looking into this just on a whim because of the from the LA Times. Black Panther has a solid debut in China on its way to $1 billion. From Forbes.com, box office, Black Panther takes a massive 88% plunge in China. So which is it?
Jack, I need a slide whistle.
You do. You absolutely do.
So which is it? LA Times or Forbes? Which one?
I gotta
is
go to
correct?
Dollar Tree and get a slide whistle. That was awesome. Well, okay, you know what? I think we've run this story to death, and I think most people in chat get the point. Like, oh man, pointless forced diversity does nothing. As a matter of fact, it looks like what it is. Who out there thinks that black people can't be talented? Hire talented people. Don't hire Ta-Nehisi Coates. Like, the guy's a talented essayist, not a comic book writer. Why'd you even fucking hire him unless for the signal? And that's the point. That's why you did hire him to write Captain America, for the virtue signal of it. Fuck you guys. That was the exact wrong decision. Anyway, let's go into something different. Just to go into something different. Black Widow includes a half hour of footage shot for IMAX's expanded screen ratio. Hey, wait a minute.
Wow. Is it gonna?
You're still on the crates.
I will never forget the crates.
For those of you who haven't been watching or don't remember that, there was leaked pictures of on-set photographs from the Black Widow set, and it's like and leaked on Twitter, and we read that story and talked about it, and one of the pictures that was leaked was just giant fucking wooden crates, and I was like, oh wow, look at the crates. Look, that does Scarlett Johansson stand-ins looking kind of blocky. I just
right? I mean, you're not supposed to replace her with literal wood.
Well, it acted exactly the same and had the same thigh ratio. So
oh fuck. And Assassin of the Grand is point. Please donate to Polly's slide whistle fund for proper sound effects to make the show even better. I agree. There's one thing I need is sound effects. I mean, Sinatra's got a little toy megaphone that he uses for effects and shit. I need an array of wonk wonk and slide whistles and stuff like that for laughs and shit. All right. There's a particular reason that I have that I mean, for bringing this story up. If only, like, when the fuck is this movie coming out? Anyway, while Black Widow's release may have been delayed for 6 months, new details about the film's planned theatrical presentation are beginning to surface. An IMAX earnings call with investors revealed that approximately 30 minutes of the upcoming Marvel Studios film will be presented in the IMAX format signature expanded aspect ratio. It's unclear what footage will reveal expanded shots, but the format is usually employed when action sequences or wide landscape shots are used to provide a more immersive experience afforded by filming in IMAX cameras. Okay, you know what? I'm all for this. And then they just talk generally about because it's CBR, they're just shilling for. Don't forget, Black Widow's a thing. This was a deliberate leak, in my opinion, because it's coming from other news sources. They're just trying to keep Black Widow in the public consciousness because it's been delayed so long. So let's reveal this information about, oh, well, part of it was shot in IMAX. Okay, I saw Dark Knight Rises in the theater, okay, with portions of it shot in IMAX. I saw it in an IMAX theater, and it was annoying and weird because you're watching 20:9 aspect ratio, right? So it's very very wide and not very tall, so you get this very landscapey feel to it, right? And who's ever clicking away, please stop. Jack.
You know it's me. My microphone's sitting right next to my mouse.
Because it makes me think you're either working on other things or staring at porn, and both of them sound more fun than what we're doing, so quit reminding me.
No, I'm pulling up an article.
Okay, cool. It makes me think you're looking at hentai. Okay, because
no, I'd brag about that.
So you're watching something in 20:9, right? And then all of a sudden, the top and the bottom of the screen light up when it shows this wide shot of Gotham City, Chicago. It's very disorienting. It's almost like all of a sudden, whoa, the screen got huge. And then when they'll cut to a shot inside of Wayne Manor, all of a sudden the screen collapses back to 20:9. And it looks like half the screen shut off. Guys, pick an aspect ratio. Like mixing them in film, and then when you go to edit it for Blu-ray or for Netflix or whatever the fuck, you're going to have to do some cropping, which means the director's original vision of what should appear on camera, because they had a wider camera aperture to film with, you're going to be chopping parts of it off out of necessity to have it all fit at 20:9 or 16:9 or whatever they go with. Don't do this. This is crap. I sat in the theater and watched Dark Knight Rises like this. First of all, Dark Knight Rises was not worth a regular ticket price, much less an IMAX ticket price. I really think that movie's overrated. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. Mary Lou Hemingway looked great as Black Cat. Fuck, that sentence was all wrong in every way, wasn't it? I mean, there was just nothing right in what I just said. And who the hell's Mary Lou Hemingway? What's
What the fuck is Mary Lou Hemingway?
Wow, at least he didn't say Mary Kay Letourneau.
that was a oh man, okay. Full disclosure, peek into the personal life here. Polly really got me watching Red Letter Media. So I've been like binging the shit out of Red Letter Media's Best of the Worst. Polly, that was a straight up Mike Staklasa fucking joke there. You went for the obvious thing and just put two completely different things together.
Somebody find out who the hell Mary Lou Hemingway is for me, please. She's okay. Well, what's the actress's name that I'm trying to remember? The one who played Catwoman. Anne Hathaway. Mary Lou Hemingway, Anne Hathaway. Close enough. Johnny Hellcat says Polly's vertigo is acting up again. Well, it's funny you say that. It actually is, and I do have some medication going on, and pseudoephedrine is known to affect one's focus.
You were thinking of Muriel Hemingway, and Mary Lou Renner probably mixing together.
So a made up person and a character they were playing from an entirely different comic book universe. Okay, nice. All right, anyway.
I'm looking at Mariel Hemingway's. She was in Superman 4.
Yeah, been in
Mhm.
lots of stuff.
Is that the
She's an
redhead who
actress.
plays Clark Kent's boyhood love from Smallville?
No, I don't think so.
4, not
What?
Superman 4 with
I'm not talking about Smallville, that bad fucking young adult thing. I'm talking about the town he's from in Kansas.
oh, I don't know. I haven't watched Quest for Peace.
You haven't seen
Kidding
Quest for
me?
Peace? What?
No.
Oh, dude, you will not know what a good movie is till you watch that turd. Because any movie you watch afterward will look way
You have a
better.
valid point for comparison of what the low bar looks like. Yeah, yeah. How
Exactly.
they got Gene
Exactly.
Hackman in it, I do not know.
A truckload of money. That's how.
I mean, Canon Films is pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. It was a lot of it.
They made some amazing movies. Masters of the Universe, Invasion USA, Mega Force. They're all over the place. But man, some of their movies, when they flop, they flop.
Yeah.
Oh man. What was I gonna say?
I don't know, but the article you have on there is a little bit concerning, considering that the Fan 4 stick is still a Sony.
Oh yeah, I
license.
don't have it up for chat to see. Spoilers quiz, Jesus!
Oh,
You're in the back
sorry.
end, man. You're ahead of the times. It's
I am.
no,
Pay no attention to the
Annette
man behind the
Toole in
curtain.
Superman 3. Don't you remember in the Superman film? Jack, come on, you saw him in the theater, right? Like the redhead from Smallville that Clark Kent was in love with, right? Like Lana.
Lang,
Yeah, whatever that actress's name was, and I think Assassin the Gray saying it's Annette O'Toole, I guess. I don't.
Yeah, probably. Because they brought her back for Smallville, play his mom. So there's some Marty McFly connection there. I don't know.
Gokado, Smallville is a glorious trash fire. I couldn't watch it. Like I did turn it on, and it was like watching Supergirl. It's like, this is YA shit. No, not interested. I don't care about your fucking, love quadrilaterals. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a teenage girl, so
That's the thing, is I've heard that there's actually some really, really cool shit in Smallville. Like there's straight up some comic book shit in Smallville, and I've heard it's really, really cool. I'm not gonna grind through all of the teenage drama shit to get to it, though. That's not happening.
yeah,
If someone can make a supercut of all of the comic booky bits, yeah, I'll watch that.
Oh, Angela is. I think you mean Mary Lou Retton, the Mighty Might super gymnast. Who? Yeah, I know who.
yeah, she was on the Wheaties
Was
boxes.
I know who Mary Lou Retton is specifically because of Scrooged. She plays Tiny
Oh, yeah.
Tim.
Oh, yeah,
she does
right.
like 5 backflips and lands, and God bless us, everyone, because she doesn't need the crutch. It's great.
Yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
movie so much.
Absolute classic.
How do we get the antlers still to stay on? Just a stapler.
Oh, and there's another Superman connection because wait a minute. No, I don't think so. No, that's not Superman at all. That's Indiana Jones. The woman who plays Bill Murray's love interest in that film is the actress who's only ever other known for one film, which is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Wait, that's what's her name? Shit. Hold on.
No, I know exactly that is. What's her name?
Shut up. We are talking about the Bill Murray,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
His love interest is the in
Arian.
Yeah.
Karen Allen.
That's
Yeah. Been in tons of shit, dude.
Oh wait, yeah. Well, no, she's in Raiders of the okay. I was thinking oh god. Not Lost Ark. Shit. Temple of Doom. When when you were talking about the one lady who was only ever in, I was all like, Temple of Doom.
Oh. Well,
that's
she
not
didn't have to
her.
be anything else. She was banging the director.
Right? Married her and then divorced.
Yeah, Karen Allen was in Starman. She was in Animal House.
No, I mean, Midnight in Exile is right. Like I was thinking of Margot Kidder, but when I look at like cigarette-y, box wine, craggy white lady, I confuse the two. Okay.
That's At least you didn't say Adrian Barbeau.
No, I just. Anyway, the new rumor provides details on Marvel Studios' vision for an MCU version of Doctor Doom. Please do it right. He's my favorite villain. I haven't read this story. I mean, just once. Just once.
Well, hey, how are they going to work him in? Because the Fan 4 stick is still
Including the
Sony.
villains. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah.
Like, so it, which, Galactus included, I think, was.
Wait, no, wasn't Fantastic Four in the Fox deal?
No, I thought they're Sony.
I think Sony's only got the Spider-Man people.
No, Sony has both Fan 4 stick and Spider-Man.
Okay, well, let's read the article in the meantime. Maybe it'll give us the answer. For months, there's been rumblings about what Marvel's cinematic universe will look like moving forward from Avengers Endgame. It doesn't matter. The Avengers Endgame is an epilogue to Infinity War, which was the final canonical MCU film. Everything else is just corporate fanfic. What?
I'm wrong. It is 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
I thought so.
So I guess they can use. Well, so long as that deal goes through, 20th Century Fox and
Disney. Yeah, and here it goes with that. And more particularly, what they will do with recently acquired properties under the Marvel banner, namely the X-Men and the Mutants, as well as the Fantastic Four. Well, there certainly are quite a few rumors detailing Marvel's plan for those heavy hitters. And the most recent one involves Mandalorian's Giancarlo Esposito. Fuck! I love him. Doesn't get his... Giancarlo's awesome. Like, here's an obscure reference. My favorite role he's ever played was in School Days, Spike Lee's second film. Fucking fantastic as the head of the fraternity. He's great. And then the small role that no one ever remembers him in from Usual Suspects, although everyone remembers that film in excruciating detail, but they forget Giancarlo was in it.
Oh, Giancarlo's Gus in Breaking Bad.
Okay. Oh, really? Never watched Breaking Bad.
Oh, you should.
You should. Good. If you like that actor, you will definitely like him in that show.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's chilling in it. It's awesome. He's like this Mexican cartel drug dealing super criminal.
Look at this cover. I'm just soaking in the Jack Kirby vibes. It's just
yeah, right.
Whew, I love it. Okay. Esposito will be reprising his role as Moff Gideon for season 2 of The Mandalorian later this year, and he's no stranger to villains, playing Gus in Breaking Bad, and its spin-off series Better Call Saul as DC's bad boy Lex Luthor in the Harley Quinn animated.
So he's getting a little bit of the double dip action. He's doing both Marvel and DC.
Isn't that kind of racist nowadays?
Well, no, I think it's kind of awesome because that means there's that one really famous voice actor that did the weird Jamaican Joker in the Batman, and he was black. God, the entire cast of Firefly have done both Marvel and DC animated features.
Yeah, but I mean, were they race swapped? I mean, if a white guy was playing a black character, that'd be a problem. Isn't this kind of the same thing?
Well, I don't know. Is Phil Lamar playing Samurai Jack a problem?
I don't have a problem with it because I don't fucking care. But these people, it's their standard that they're violating.
Right?
Chat, there's a bunch of assholes in chat making me laugh. Stop it. Matt Winter and Assassin. Fuck off. I actually just found out that, speaking of voice actors, that a voice actor I love who's doing who did the Audible audiobook versions of all of the Philip Marlowe detective novels from Raymond Chandler. He was also the voice for Darkseid in Justice League, and he played Darkseid in Justice League, but all of that was on the cutting room floor in the second version of it. Yeah.
Really? Okay, wait. So which Darkseid though? We were talking the movies or okay, was it Justice League War? I think was the one.
Yeah, Cole Porter. No, wait a minute. That's not Cole Porter at all. That's a songwriter. It's quiet. It's pseudoephedrine is a powerful drug. Okay, Ray Porter. Ray Porter. That's his name. Fuck. This is
Okay, because in Justice League War it was Steve Blum. Cole Porter.
Cole Porter did the voice of Darkseid.
That's why birds do it.
Yeah, Louis Armstrong is gonna play Shazam next movie.
With that said, if you're even remotely, I forget who now because I'm having trouble remembering voice actors I listen to currently. Asked about good noir. Hey, if you want good noir and you're into audiobooks, check out the Audible new versions of all the Philip Marlowe books, as read by Cole Porter. They're great. As read by Ray Porter. They're fucking awesome. He's good at doing Philip Marlowe. Okay, however, the latest rumor is to believe Esposito could be playing one of the biggest bads of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, that being the Fantastic Foe, Doctor Doom. What? So he's supposed to be Latvian Prince Esposito?
Yes, because there are a lot of mixed race dictators.
Well, Giancarlo Esposito is going to play Victor Von Doom, the Latvian. The Latvian gypsy, I might add.
Look, Polly, they'll just change it to where he's an illegal immigrant from some small country called Latveria in South America.
This has got to be like, this is a perfect example of like what is emblematically a problem here. I love Giancarlo Esposito. I love Doctor Doom. No. What? This is just a weird casting choice. I mean, what the fuck? It's not that the guy's a great actor. It's not that I don't want to see him and all kinds of shit I do. But that just doesn't make sense.
Well, it doesn't have to make sense. This is
it would be like what's the guy's name?
It all depends on whether or not he's in the armor at all times.
Well, yeah, that's
if they're gonna do him like the Mandalorian, right? So he's always got his head covered. It doesn't matter.
I guess if he sells the Eastern European accent well, or does something, I mean, he's a fucking super qualified actor. I'm sure he could come up with a great voice for it. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that. If they're hiring a black guy to be the villain these days, they're going to want him without the mask on 90% of the time. Like, this is all fucking politics and bullshit, woke SJW stuff. The guy's got the voice for it. He's a great actor. Bad casting. They don't care. It's about virtue signaling.
Oh, yeah. Evil One brought up Keith David. Literally my favorite voice actor of all.
Oh, yeah. Keith David.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just hands down the best. You've never heard Keith David until you've heard him say, "Look, back off. Permanently your face."
Right. Yeah, guys, if you haven't seen the HBO Spawn series, fantastic. It's so good. It's so good. I mean, it's not the greatest animated thing ever made, but it is so worth your fucking time. Is it up on Netflix or anything? Hulu, something?
Oh,
no, wait a minute. It'd be on HBO. What am I talking about? It would, yeah.
Yeah, it would probably be on HBO Max. I have it all on DVD, and it is hands down, in my opinion. Polly saying, is it best animated thing? No, it's not. On par with Don Bluth. It's very well animated. It's animated probably on 24s, not on 60s. But it's for a comic book movie that Todd McFarlane, specifically when pitched the idea of making a Spawn animated TV show, he had boiled down all of his questions into one, saying, "Can I say the word fuck?" And HBO said, "Yeah, sure." It's well worth it. It's brutal. It's violent. It's
very
dark.
Extremely true to the comic book. Though it runs with separate storylines from it. It is so true to the storylines and the vibe and everything else. Like, yeah, 3 seasons of awesome. This says, or excuse me, Midnight in Exile says, one time I thought I was going to meet Keith David, and it turned out to be Keith Carradine, but he was still cool. I like Keith Carradine. I know who you mean. He's kind of he's an underrated guy.
No Keith David.
No, he is no Keith David. I mean, and the thing that's funny about Keith David is that, like, not only is some people he's just a great voice actor, he's also a great screen actor. Him as King in Platoon, out fucking standing. Him in Dead Presidents, even though it was kind of like a bad movie, him playing Kirby, the local dealer mobster guy in Dead Presidents, he's fucking awesome. And he has a super hyper small role in Roadhouse. Did you remember he was in Roadhouse? He was the bartender.
I try not to remember that movie as much.
That's one of those moments where you see like a great actor in the background, and it's like, you hired him for 3 lines to say we're running low on scotch. That's what you hired Keith David for, to say we're running low on scotch.
Look, if you have the opportunity to hire Keith David to put in your movie, you do it. That's just the way it is.
Dude,
I got 10 minutes. I'll say 3 lines. All right.
He single-handedly made the movie Working Men infinitely better.
Absolutely. Perfectly good.
Let's see where this story goes.
Right?
Not only does it detail their interest in Esposito, but it provides some details on how Marvel Studios is envisioning Doom. The rumor comes from Mikey Sutton via the Everything Always YouTube channel. This is bad. Like, look how they tried to put like little scars on his face and stuff.
Well, again, it's not necessarily about the fact that, you know, he's you know, darker skinned than anyone else. It's the fact that he's got the gravitas and the presence to be able to make a villain like Doctor Doom come alive.
You have to have serious malevolent presence. Like, you got to play someone who comes across like indomitable will, super bright, extremely egocentric. Like, you know, yeah.
So again, you know, given the fact that, you know, Latveria is supposed to be in Western Europe, if they leave him in the suit at all times, like Doom should be, Doom's suit is like a life support device, right?
No, he's fine.
I thought it was.
He's not Darth Vader.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought his suit.
No, he just loves the superhuman aspects of it, like the empowered, and that he can walk in a vacuum and all the other tech he developed himself, and then the Iron Man tech he stole, and then to cover up his face because no one will see Doom.
Yeah, because he's hideous, because he's all so horribly scarred from trying to follow in Mastic's footsteps. Yeah. So I don't know. I think there could be some good stuff going on with him.
Sutton states there actually have been discussions, not with Esposito directly at Marvel Studios, about such a possibility. Wow, this is a very vague rumor. He elaborates, according to my source, Marvel Studios is envisioning Doctor Doom closer to OG Darth Vader, coming full circle as Vader was often viewed as inspired by Doom, since George Lucas was an avid comic book fan, especially Marvel, since, let's not forget, he produced Howard the Duck, the first movie about a Marvel Comics character.
An underrated movie.
It's a terrible movie.
Terribly fun. He had a little duck condom in his wallet.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, he did. That movie was so dumb. I know you do.
So they're envisioning Doom.
Of course you do.
Doom in the MCU will be mysterious. They don't want his face to be seen before his accent. He's going to be a serious villain, but in the mold of Thanos or Eric Killmonger, whose worldview occupies that gray twilight zone between good and evil. Eric Killmonger is not anywhere near the gray zone of good. I mean, come on. No. And Thanos is like a cosmic genocidal maniac. What are you talking? Okay, anyway. No, I get the point there. Because he's fighting for the liberation of his people, Eric Killmonger's a good person. He's shipping vibranium arms all over the world with no concerns for where they go or how they're used, as long as they end up in the hands of black people. That's a very frightening prospect, no matter who you're giving the weapons to. What the Fuck. Anyway, that was, I mean, if you've seen Black Panther, that was his actual plot. I'm going to take over Wakanda so I can use vibranium weaponry all over the world for forced liberation. Okay. Jesus. Can you imagine dumping super weapons all over current day Africa? All of the warlordism and tribal fighting that's going. Can you imagine dumping super weapons into the Congo right now? Who's that going to help? I'm surprised that nobody screamed back at him, especially Chadwick. You know, like, are you insane, man? Like, you know, it's instead he was just worried about reclaiming his throne. You know, whatever then. Oh fuck, let's rapid fire through some stories. Fuck, we're going way too slow. You guys are gambling. I know you're not.
I have not once been a hypocrite and showed someone doing a thing while also supporting someone else making a joke. Someone making a joke and then supporting someone else who made a joke and says that one is bad while the other one is good.
Stay away from pseudoephedrine. Making you weird. Okay. Rumor.
It's making me weird.
Well, maybe it's making me hear you weird. I don't know. Look, rumor: the Walt Disney Company to experience massive layoffs. Bob Iger on the chopping block. I don't give it to Kathleen Kennedy. She knows how to run a company.
Oh God! Don't even suggest that.
Yeah. In a recent post to the forums entitled "On Layoffs, Very Bad Attendance, and Iger's Legacy Being One of Disgrace," Phoenix details that the Walt Disney Company is about to experience some of the deepest layoffs I have ever witnessed in my adult life. He elaborates, what you're about to see from the Walt Disney Company will be shocking. It will permanently change their business forever. The bloat is about to be gone. The mediocrity that's failed upward all our lives is about to be purged. A new company is emerging. Wow.
It's a very hyperbolic thing to say, but he might be right. Because they're bleeding money at Disney. The parks shut down. That's where most of the revenue comes from.
And of course, it'll always come down to, as a publicly traded company, I mean, they could play games with their stuff all day, but as soon as their stock price starts to drop, it's going to trigger investment refund payment, which that is what will cause a collapse. So the only real danger is if the stock price starts to fall, and that will be reflected soon enough and as the quarterly reports come out. Because of what you said, Jack, the only truly profitable thing for Disney that was going on was their parks.
Yeah, and look, they've got a bunch of loans coming due that they used to buy Fox with, and nothing they've done is working because what do they own? They own media, so TV production's down, film production's down, their parks are closed, all because of the pandemic. That's where most of their revenue is coming from. What do they got left? Merchandise that you can't go to the store and buy?
Yeah. And hopefully the good common sense of things will occur where it's like, are we going to extend Kathleen Kennedy's contract yet again? Are we going to give her multiple millions of more dollars to fuck us even harder? Like, hopefully the answer is no. Right.
Yeah. I could see them selling off some of their smaller stuff like they did New Line years ago. You know, some of the small companies they own, they could liquidate that crap. I can see them shut down Marvel because it's done nothing but bleed money with these garbage books they're putting out. They'll keep the films obviously, but they'll license out the comics.
Yeah, I was gonna say license out the comics to places like IDW. Actually hire competent people to write.
Yeah, well, theoretically, hopefully, but yeah, then they're getting revenue and they're not, spending money. But with the theme park shut down, they've got to be bleeding money, and their quarterly report is coming up here. I would love to be sitting in on that phone call, with the shareholders.
Well, listen to Phoenix's final line here that we're going to read. This is funny. Quote, in disgrace, his sins, his poor judgment, his poor treatment of subordinates, his malicious temper, and outrageous displays of toxic masculinity, as the kids call it.
Toxic masculinity.
Oh, fuck. Bob Iger was displaying toxic masculinity. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Why didn't you just say his spending spree? Because that's really what they'd fire him for, is all these acquisitions.
Well, isn't Bob Iger the guy that immediately as soon as he became CEO went back on Disney's pledge so that kids with special needs got into the parks for free?
Yeah. The
He
guy's a douchebag.
first thing he did when he became CEO is nope, retards got to pay
Damn,
too.
quiz. Fuck. Disavow.
What?
Holy shit. Green Hornet animated series in the works from Kevin Smith.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah,
That could be good.
absolutely it could. Kevin Smith is developing a family-friendly Green Hornet. Oh, never mind.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it could. See, here's the thing, right? Green Hornet was never a character that was hinging on the fact that it was adult
No,
oriented.
it was a very TV-friendly version of the Shadow. Very yeah.
Yeah, exactly. With Bruce Lee
Yeah.
as a sidekick. So yeah, no, I think that could be.
Yeah, Green Hornet's comics were kind of the same way. I mean, Kevin Smith wrote some Green Hornet books. I've heard they're really good.
I say just don't get Seth Rogen to anywhere near this
Oh,
project,
right.
please.
God,
Don't.
Seth Rogen should be anywhere near any project.
Kevin Smith says it's an honor to escort the
Smoking
legendary
weed.
Green Hornet and Kato into their very own animated series for the first time in the rich history of these iconic pop culture characters. We'll be telling a tale of two Hornets, past and future, that spans generations and draws inspiration from a lifetime spent watching classic cartoons and the amazing animation like Batman the Animated Series, Heavy Metal, and Super Friends. I can't believe Wild Brain gave me this job.
Okay.
Well, you, man. I hope you do well with it. Fuck, I hope it's interesting. I mean, I guess you could consider certain things family friendly, like Super Friends and Batman the Animated Series, and if it ends up being as good as them, fuck, I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Well, see, that's the thing is Batman the Animated Series, yeah, I could see as being family friendly, but also more treating the kids that watch it with like the media has lost edge these days where something that is ostensibly family friendly can also have a mature edge to it that just doesn't seem to be a thing anymore. And the last one that I could sit there and really consider would be Batman the Animated Series. I mean, hell, Mask of the Phantasm had plenty of people actually dying in it. And so, can you imagine a 5-year-old going and seeing that movie and saying, having questions about mortality to their parents?
No, they were just sleeping.
Here's two back-to-back confusing stories. We got rumor Disney discussing new Star Wars film starring Luke Skywalker set after Return of the Jedi. And it's like,
Okay.
all right.
But who would play him?
Tiki Watiki confirms he's begun writing his Star Wars film. Wait, what?
Oh.
What? So
Tiki
Yeah.
Watiki is writing the Luke Skywalker film.
No, he is not.
which
It's a
means it'll
different
be
film.
silly.
That's what I mean. I've read both those stories and I don't really want to go over them. It's just like, God, the rumors abounding where it's like, you guys still like Star Wars, right? We're doing all sorts of stuff. How about like Luke Skywalker, Return of the Jedi, was something like the original universe? Okay, now we're going to bring on Tiki Watiki. And my quote that I love from him so much: "You don't know what you like until I put it in front of you."
Damn right.
Fuck you, Tiki Watiki.
I was say that reminds me of the one thing that fucking the developers at Blizzard said when one person at BlizzCon said, "Hey, can we get a World of Warcraft classic? We would like to go back to those old things." And the developers literally said to them, "No, you don't want that either. You just don't know it. Fuck off. If you have the gall to dictate to people what they should and should not want, you have no business being an entertainer. Fuck off."
Moving along quite quickly, Gail Simone no longer working for Dynamite following the Comicsgate controversy. Oh no.
Oh no.
They're
Yeah.
real upset.
Comic book creator and well, let's just leave it at that. Comic book creator Gail Simone issued a statement on Dynamite Entertainment's ties to Comicsgate and said she is no longer working for the publisher. She can't deal with it, man. How dare they deal with a hate group? She writes this. All right, I promised I would talk about Dynamite. This sucks. I'd rather not. It's extremely unpleasant and draining. I didn't post much earlier because the whole thing blows. This is her explanation. The whole situation is a, quote, morass for her because she considered the guy running Dynamite, Nick Barucci, to not just be a publisher, not just a friend, but damn near family. Ultimately, while Simone believes a company can publish who they want, she says learning of the alleged connection between Dynamite and Comicsgate was very disappointing to her. Quote, I know this is just going to end up being mocked on all sides. Yeah, because you're highly mockable,
Yeah.
Gail, because of what you do and say. Not because of who you are, but because of what you do and say. Okay? But when you have someone you care about and this happens, I really just can't articulate how much it sucks. It sucks worse than my writing. There's two things going on, the public and the personal. The public is what it is. The personal is that this is a publisher I liked, who was at my blah, blah, blah. You're good friends with him, and he didn't listen to you when he said, get away from Comicsgate because they hurt my fifis. That's not what she said. I added it. Simone fired back at people who claim she remained silent on the controversy up until this point because she didn't want to, quote, endanger her paycheck. In addition to announcing that she was not currently working with Dynamite, she also revealed that she is, quote, not going forward with a charity book to benefit comic shops they talked about. Oh no, what are they going to do without you? No, I mean, seriously, Gail Simone's not attached anymore. It's going to fail. Yeah, right.
Well, it's kind of insulting too because she's punishing the comic shops who sell her products, and this was like where she was mostly getting published recently. Where is she going to go now? What, you going to stick with Lions Forge, that fledgling, failing company that you sort of kind of work for?
I'm gonna try and get back in position and write another 6 issues.
Yeah, she's gonna emotionally blackmail them back into hiring her because the woman.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, in chat, it's earlier this month, Dynamite Entertainment came under fire for promoting a Comicsgate project with a variant cover. That's it. All was over. As well as having ties to other creators affiliated with Comicsgate. Dun dun dun. Yeah.
Which everyone's known about for over a year. Because Cyberfrog did a cover of
like, big
Umbrella.
deal. The guy that he's talking about that was her personal friend was friendly and in talks for small business deals with Ethan Van Sciver. But that's enough. That's enough for some people to be like, ultra guilt by association pushed to a ludicrous extreme.
Look, these issues are how you get exclusive covers for your shop. You run a big store like Midtown. You want an exclusive cover for your store. This is the same process that what they're doing for these Comicsgate guys. That's it. There's no difference there. It's the same interior book with a new cover. That's it. And you buy like 500 or 1,000 copies. They print a new cover for you. That's the entire process. It's about business. This has nothing to do with Dynamite supporting Comicsgate. They're just trying to make some cash.
But that leads us into the next story. Dynamite releases statement seemingly disavowing Comicsgate associations. And this statement is really nothing more than angry 4% of Twitter. Shut up. We got a fucking business to run under COVID. Fuck off. Like, that's just, can we make these guys happy with this statement, right? So here's Dynamite Comics. It came under fire. I hate that. Under fire? No, you're not ducking behind fucking brick buildings while people are firing rifles at you. Stop making it. Some people on Twitter said, you guys are racist. That's it. That's your coming under fire. Who gives a fuck what they say? They're always going to say that. So what does it fucking matter? It doesn't really matter what you do. And like, oh my God, Ethan Van Sciver is, seen as the leader of Comicsgate, has some vague connection for small business deals. So what? So they're no longer doing this Cecil thing, this Cecil deal with them, and the Indiegogo thing is canceled. And that's it. And their statement is just, moving forward, we're not doing this, and diversity in comic books are for everyone. That's the whole story. That's why I think it just boils down to God, shut up. Leave us alone. Like,
Well, if people would stop caving, a lot of this would go away because it's these little victories they get that
Yeah.
inspire them to keep going.
I say there's really only one way to get the point across to these sorts of people is when they sit there and say, "You're racist, you're sexist." All the only thing you need to say, two very easy, very simple words. Fuck off. There you go.
hmm.
Tell them to fuck off.
uh,
Very simple. Very simple.
Chris Real to step down as president of IDW to start new publishing and entertainment venture.
Is he the wife of Monica Real?
No.
No, no.
So this is like IDW, who has had serious money problems. We've talked about it a number of times, number of stories of. They're not the biggest company in the world, and they're really overextended in terms of purchasing and investments and stuff. But so their president is stepping down right now, and in Previews world, which is not exactly shilly, but they do like to put a gloss on a lot of things. Everything's fine, nothing to worry about here.
Nope.
So it's like he's been in the position for 15 years, and he's stepping down. So they bring in a new guy, and he's placed on administrative leave the first week.
I laughed so hard when I saw
need
that.
a slide whistle.
Why was he on administrative leave?
It's vague, but here you go. Judd Myers, who stepped into the position after the Chris stepped down, has been placed on administrative leave 5 days after being announced as the new publisher. Days after being announced as publisher of IDW following the departure of Chris Real, Judd Myers has been placed on administrative leaves, the Hollywood Reporter can confirm. Before his promotion to publisher, he blah, 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 as well as other blah, blah, blah. Myers was named publisher on July 22nd as part of the company-wide reshuffle that saw Jerry Bennington, formerly executive VP of product management at the company, named president Rebecca Shannon, up to general manager and executive VP of operations for blah, blah, blah. In a statement to the Hollywood Reporter, Ezra Rosenshaft. That sounds so made up.
Rosenshaft.
That's somebody's new porn name right there.
Really, really polish that shit.
IDW CEO said
Rosen.
IDW Publishing has now decided to put Judd Myers on administrative leave. President Bennington will assume his responsibilities as interim publisher. The publisher declined to comment on the specifics of why Myers was put on leave. I love it. Like, the company couldn't look in worse disarray in terms of the overextension of their money, and then there's this industry-wide reshuffle, he said, and they even replaced the president, and then they bring this new guy as a publisher 5 days later. Don't come in tomorrow.
Right? Well, it sucks. They have some great licenses.
Yeah.
And they've done nothing but mismanage it. And it's a damn shame. They've got some really good books out, but they put too much emphasis on trying to get Netflix deals, and it showed. Because they had that show Winona Earp on Sci-Fi Channel, and that was pretty popular, but they couldn't keep the funding going because they were blowing money all over the place. The only division that's making money is their board game division.
Well, Winona Earp just got a new season.
Yeah, but they've had to go and get more money to fund it.
Oh, I was gonna say, because I see advertisements for it all the fucking time.
Yeah, I got delayed because they didn't have the money to do it. So it was like almost a year hiatus, I want to say. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. They've had nothing but money problems. So it's just all, they were running like it was the 90s. And like I said, I like a lot of their books. I read a lot of them, and they're really well done. Transformers versus Terminator. The Transformers books are good. Turtles books are good. They've got a lot going on. What's that?
They had some good Warhammer ones.
Yeah, they've got G.I. Joe. They've got a lot of licenses. So just really depressing to see this because they've got all this great material and they've been around for ages. everything's just kind of falling apart behind the scenes.
Mhm. Well, let's do it. Whisper Network Part 2, Media Cover-Ups and Coordinated Future Attacks.
Good times.
Okay. Since exposing the Whisper Network, tips and testimonials have flooded into Bleeding Fool from all corners of the internet. It feels like a tectonic shift is happening, and we're nowhere near done decontaminating the comics industry. Perhaps this series will be enough disinfecting light to foil those wicked plans. Let's see. No, it won't, because people are willing to do stuff like, oh, Jesus Christ. People are willing to put out covers like this just to spite a few people they don't like. You know, I mean, arrogant female member, but the original asked me about my feminist agenda. You know, just to say fuck you. You're using the cover of a comic book and a character just to say fuck you to some people on social media? You should have been fired for that alone. No wonder you did it on your way out the door. Why would anyone hire you after you displayed this kind of childish petulance? Anyway,
I wouldn't be surprised if that were actually a thing that they were passing around to each other.
What do you?
Yeah, no kidding.
The arrogant female Whisper Network member.
Yeah. For this installment, I'm going to first present an untold history lesson of a massive crime that was initially reported, swiftly followed by a media cover-up. They think a lot of people completely miss. Sometimes it's what the media doesn't report that makes a difference. Well, a lot of the time. Then we'll go back inside the secret women of the comics Facebook group. Secret comic book, like it's not public. You can't join unless you've been properly vetted and gate kept to be invited. Yeah. Where I would demonstrate what I think this popular DC Comics writer is on the next target of the Whisper Network. And while we're there, let's expose who the head honchos of this group are, shall we? This is a really long article, guys. I don't drag you through. Amy Chu. By the way, I am a member of the arrogant female Whisper Network, which is neither run by Gail nor Alex, as claims, and now thanks for the new name. We're talking about enamel pins and stickers, and this is precisely why we have a closed group for women, non-binary, and trans pros. Thank you for confirming it.
Amy Chu's a terrible writer. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people out there like her work, but
I've pitched a comic by her. I thought her Poison Ivy Cycle of Life and Death is actually really good.
She's bound to get something good out there eventually, but I read her Green Hornet and it was garbage.
Well, it's frustrating to see that.
Yeah, she's very into the social justice. I'm not surprised she's a member of this, and it's disappointing.
See, and this is what kills me, is that this person, whether or not they said it in a way you didn't like or said some insulting things that you didn't like, the key point is we are exposing the arrogant female Whisper Network. Look, let's just say the insults were removed from her, the harsh shit, right? You know, you got Alex DeCampi and Gail Simone. Like, we were exposing a Whisper Network run by these two people. And whatever, okay? She says, well, it's not run by them, but this is precisely why we have a closed group for women, non-binary, and trans pros. Yeah, you're all comic book pros that are interested in social justice that all fit into your intersectional categories, and you, in secret, talk about canceling people and colluding with each other to shut and gatekeep. Talk about you are not trying to do any of these things, and it doesn't exist. You moron, you just confirmed it. So you could own this person by saying, this is why we need it? What? If a whole bunch of straight white men got together and had a closed group like this, you guys would not just be crying foul, you'd be crying Armageddon. Like, it wouldn't, there would be no cry loud enough. As if you're actually in danger in the industry when people are going out of their way to hire you specifically because of your identity. Anyway, it goes on and on. There's Dan Fan. Sub to Dan Fan. She's on. In part one, we learned that 440 plus women who are either in the comics book industry or connected to it have a secret invite-only Facebook group where outsiders can only find and gain access to where, if they know where to look, who to ask, and if they can get approved by top moderators. Members of this club include Zoe Quinn, of fucking course, Gail Simone, Mags Visaggio, Heather Ontos, Tamara Bond villain. Sound like in other words, the Rogues Gallery of self-righteous morons.
I need to bring it up again. Hey, Zoe. Zoe. How about that killed or that kid that was killed in Humboldt Park? Do you think that kid could have been saved if the cops weren't patrolling movie theaters for the Joker? Hmm?
What about
do
the
you, Zoe?
what about
Zoe.
what about her ex-boyfriend?
Oh yeah, that's right. Right. That's God. Things that have killed more people than the Joker movie. Zoe Quinn, Popeye's chicken sandwiches. Yeah.
All right.
But the important part of this story is the Stephanie Cook
Yeah.
allegation.
Why don't you get into that? Because like I said, like, just come on, guys, look at that. Jack, you want to do a summary? We should do a separate video on this. Look, it just keeps going. God.
So what's really important here is, like, we all knew there was a whisper network of these whiny people. Apparently, what the comic media ignored is that Stephanie Cook was accused by Bill Willingham of taking a bunch of his money, like tens of thousands of dollars. And when he went to the cops, she fled back to Canada. It's still an open case. So nobody talks about this. Like, it was tens of thousands of dollars that apparently when she worked for him, this is his allegation, took his money and was like stealing it from his accounts.
Like embezzling or
Yeah.
oh, okay.
You have to read it, Quiz. It's you're right, Polly. We probably should do a video on this because it's fairly interesting
Pretty
allegation.
huge, too.
It's
Yeah.
deep lore, and the big takeaway that everyone has been discussing, well, one of the big takeaways that everyone has been discussing is Scott Snyder is expected to be the next target of the Whisper Network because of things that are going on. And you see Heather Antos, everyone's favorite moron. I mean, Heather, it would be nice if you were known for your editorial skills and your management skills rather than the things you say on Twitter. And the amount of oppression that you've unfairly dealt with your entire adult career. Fuck off.
I was gonna say, but we know for a fact that's not it. She's famous because she got a character that should have stayed dead, revived in her image, and has plagued the comic book world for over 10 years.
But this is one of the problems. I've got this video that I've been working on for a little bit, and I've been trying to put it together, and it's simply called Fuck the Fame. I don't know if I can actually put that as the title, but there's people like Gail Simone is a great example. There's people like Heather Antos that really are hired for their social media following and presence more than anything that they will do once they're hired. You know what I'm talking about here? I mean, we discussed it before, and it's, well, welcome to current year. And there really isn't a point in, like, this is almost like, I get it. Like, there's nothing wrong with having a strong social media presence because a lot of these people are your fans, but a lot of them aren't fans. In the case of Heather Antos, if you eliminate the other media pros that are following her, the other comic book pros, who's following her are people that are SJWs, to use an overinflated term or an overused term, right? They're just people that are knowing that she's constantly saying, I expected more from you, Scott. This racist thing that happened really bothered me. Oh my God, I'm actually oppressed. I'm, was the center of the whole milkshake girls thing, and she's that everybody from Comicsgate just wants to destroy her. No, you're out there doing things that were, oh, I want to promote like women in comics. I want to hire only women. I only want to work with women, and I'm a proud feminist, and it's the patriarchy's real, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, none of these things are real. You're not demonstrating any of these things are actually happening. As a matter of fact, all the evidence runs to the contrary. And then you put together a whisper network that you claim is not happening and doesn't exist and deny it forever. And then when people go, look, it is happening, and you only allow in BIPOC and women creators, blah, 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 and gatekeep it so you can help and assist each other and say, this is why we need it. Whoa, 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 whoa. You said it didn't exist. And apparently through all pieces of evidence, and yeah, we really should do a separate video for it because it takes a while to explain why they believe Scott Snyder, of all people, is their next target to be canceled. It is fucking weird. I agree.
In my opinion, was the last good Batman author. Because he was the he was the guy that did Batman Endgame, which I thought was amazing. He was the one that did I think he was the writer for Court of Owls, wasn't he?
Did he write Court of
Wait a minute.
Owls? If so,
I
good
think
for
he did.
you. Holy fuck.
The important thing is that Tom King is not on Batman.
Yeah, Scott Snyder wrote
Right.
Court of Owls.
Thank you very much, Pete, for the $10. Yo, Polly, here. Have $10, my friend. Well, thank you very much. It's greatly appreciated. And I forgot to turn off the Noir Bar pop-ups, but you got sexy Jessica Alba taking a slug from a bottle of liquor, so I mean, it's not like it's a bad thing. Right. So
Now I just kind of expect it for Pete. He'll always get that Jessica Alba gif.
where is the last story that I wanted to talk about before we pitches? Shit, where is it? Oh, there it is.
Oh, good. We were just talking about him too. Fuck
Yeah.
Tom King.
I set you up. For the
Yeah,
segue.
it was well done. I noticed that. So let's see if it's got his original tweet in here and we can do it fast, right? Because we talked about this previously, right? Tom King's original tweet. There's the cover of Rorschach #1, and Jay Lee did this cover, alternate cover, variant edition of Rorschach #1. And Tom King, who wrote the issue, took issue with this by tweeting out this. Today, DC put out an alternate cover of Rorschach by Jay Lee, who has also done covers for Comicsgate, a hate group. DC does not consult creators on alternate covers. I reached out to them to express my deep disappointment. As far as I'm concerned, this is the cover for Rorschach #1, which I happen to like. I think this is a great cover, but I also like Jay Lee, so what's the problem?
Tom King's writing a Rorschach is the problem.
Yeah.
He's gonna be all like, "Oh my god, I'm so sad. Women don't like me. I got mommy issues." Oh god.
Targeting of Lee would come almost 10 days after DC Comics had announced King's upcoming Rorschach series. That made it abundantly clear Lee would be doing a variant cover for the issue. King would follow up his tweet when he wrote this. I spoke with Jay. He's not on Twitter and didn't know Comicsgate existed and doesn't support a hate group of any kind. We're all good. Best possible outcome. People like got their virtual torches and pitchforks over this, like in terms of like, oh my god, Comicsgate, cancel him. And then other people were like, no, fuck that. And in my Jack, why do you think that people took issue with this and that King ended up apologizing? Why do you think that King ended up apologizing, that this turned on him?
A couple reasons. One, once they read what Jay Lee said was going on in his life, it really puts a perspective on this. And two, Tom King seems to target specifically Asian people with his criticism. This is the second creator he's gone after who's been Korean, I think. And Tom King's just an asshole who has a lot of issues. And like we were saying before the stream, this is a sort of virtue signal now. I think you said it best when you said this is the modern virtue signal.
He then specifically, Lee, referenced King's tweet. Jack alluded to problems were going on in his life. He didn't expect that his dog was going to survive this surgery and then didn't. And it was a treasured companion and, etc. So this guy was really, really down and this happened at this time. And so he then references what King said. He says, they can take away your job, your life, your memories. June and I were robbed of a special day. So no, we're not all good. I mean, it's all good. I didn't realize. Like, Tom King, why did you even feel the need to do that? You son of a bitch. Why did you even...
I sincerely I sincerely hope that Jay Lee just keeps twisting the blade at every single time that he possibly can, in every single aspect that he's interacting with DC Comics, and say, "Oh yeah, what about that time that Tom King called me out on Twitter and tried to get me canceled because
No.
of all of this shit?" I want to see every single person have the memory of a goddamn motherfucking elephant when it comes to this kind of shit, and no one ever lets Tom King live
No, he needs to sue them.
that
Because
too.
he defamed him by saying he was part of a hate group.
Yeah, that too.
So he should sue Tom King and DC. And the real dick thing that Tom King did after this came out, posted pictures of himself
Yeah.
walking his dog.
Yeah,
And
he
kept
posted a
taking
whole bunch of
pictures of his
pictures of him.
dog.
Yeah,
There's-
of his dog. Yeah.
You're right. He did. And this is all part of the whole back and forth of thing that people have been talking about this for days, right? Where some people take the thing as like, no, the guy actually does always post pictures of his dog. It was a bad coincidence. And other people are saying, no, fuck that. Tom King's a bitter man. He did it on purpose. Because what you see is there's a tweet from Lee himself where it's like his dog named Loki. And it's like
Well, no, it's not a tweet.
a Facebook post,
It's not a tweet. That's an Instagram.
social media post.
Yes. Well, yeah, Jay Lee doesn't have a Twitter. That's why. He even says in that post he doesn't have a.
Anyway,
doesn't matter.
there's the box with his dog Loki, his ashes in it, and like the picture, it's like, yeah, this is what I've been dealing with, and here's his toys and his chew toys and stuff, and a picture of him. So yeah, the guy was legitimately fucked up over it. I love Lee's statement here though. On his social media post, this isn't the start of the conversation. This is the end. So please don't drag me into a world I never wanted to be part of, nor will I ever want to be a part of. He's talking about the whole thing. He's not talking about, I don't want to be part of a hate group Comicsgate. He's like, no, I don't want to be part of your virtue signaling garbage against whoever you're angry at this week either. The whole thing he meant. And I was like, yeah, I can really understand where you're coming from. I mean, this poor guy, mommy and daddy miss you so very much. Jesus Christ, this poor man. It's like, oh my God. So here's King's apology that a lot of people took. Were like, that was a good apology. Let's hopefully this is a learning moment for him and an introspective moment for him, King, in terms of what he did here, trying to like get a guy fucking canceled over a hate group or whatever the fuck. Tweeted, as I've done privately, I'd like to publicly apologize to Jay Lee for my actions a few days ago. I should have talked with Jay before I sent out a tweet about him that put his career at risk.
Fuck off, Tom King. Fuck you. You knew exactly what you were doing.
I made a critical mistake, and I'm profoundly sorry. I'll do what I can to repair this with Jay, and I will do better in the future. I'm not going to offer explanations because they'll sound like excuses, and I'm not asking for forgiveness or understanding. I'm just saying I see what I did, and I'm going to try and make up for it. Thank you. I have kept the tweets up to this point up in order to show I was not hiding my actions. I will now take them down. I would say that this, yeah, you know what? Look, this, and people have back and forth opinions on this. I don't fucking know. Look, if you're going to apologize, I guess this is kind of the way to do it because he didn't make it about him. And a lot of people have had that take on it. It wasn't like, look, when I read this, I felt that. And then I was thinking, and then in my experience, and I know what it's like for, creators of color in this industry, and I need to stand up. In other words, be Mark Waid. Because for Mark Waid, he makes everything about him. Whatever. He's just like, you know what? I fucked this guy up. I'm going to try and fix it. I've already apologized to him. Now I'm telling everyone else that I've apologized to him and I'm blah, blah, blah. This part at the end, I think, is kind of telling, though. And this is just pure guesswork. I don't know either of these men, but I left the tweets up to this point to kind of like demonstrate I wasn't trying to hide anything. No, I don't think that's what happened. My guess is that he left them up because he put up the tweet because it's exactly what he wanted out there. And he left it up until the backlash got so bad that he took it down. Now, this lawyer speak from a publicist comes out where it's like, well, how are you going to explain that you didn't take the tweet down immediately if you regretted it so quickly? Because I wanted to own responsibility for it.
Yeah, a PR firm wrote this.
Do you see what I mean by my take on that last little bit? Why are you, if you regretted it, why'd you leave him up? You have to explain that. So he explains by trying to own I didn't hide it. I didn't want to be ashamed or act like I was, that I'm with integrity, I'm leaving them up kind of thing. But now I'm taking them down after I've put up my apology. You mean after the heat got so bad that you had to offer an apology? That's my call. Sorry, Jack, go ahead.
The major thing about this that I keep going back to is put his career at risk.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have should have talked to Jay before I sent a tweet up, put his career at risk. That is exactly why you sent that tweet, Tom King. That's exactly why you did it, to put his career at risk. So fuck off with your apology. Fuck off with you. Into the fucking void you go. I don't want you to write Rorschach. I don't want you to write any comic book ever. You have proven you do not have the integrity to do anything.
Well, okay, look, it's okay. No, I would disagree with that. Here's my take on it. Like, I understand the fury. I get it. And Tom King is not a good writer. He's over-celebrated. But whatever, the guy's going to get more work. What I would like, ideally, to see happen is for him to lose a job, some work, specifically because of this. That there would be some consequence to calling everybody a bigot, racist, sexist, Islamophobe, transphobe, whatever. Because up until now, there really haven't been any consequences for it. And you could just sort of like, somebody says some racist shit, like from 10 years ago, and their career is ruined. Something that's interpreted as racist from 10 years ago, and their career is ruined. This guy claims Jay Lee, an Asian man, is associated with an online hate group, and everything's fine. It's all good. It's all good. And Jay Lee responds, no, it's not all good. And I don't want to be part of anything you guys are dealing with. And Tom King's fine by just writing out this little apology because he's part of the woke crowd, so it's fine. It shouldn't be. I don't want to say never again. No, I'd like to see him lose some work like he intended for Jay Lee to lose.
No, I want to see him casting.
Look, I think
if this bullying it somehow makes its way into his next comic book because they are all his therapy journals, good.
Actually,
look, he needs to get sued for this because this is going to be career damaging for Lee forever. There's articles been written about this. You type his name in, and you're going to find the phrase "hate group" associated with it. This did damage Lee's career.
Yes.
And it will continue to haunt him for the rest of his career. What little of it is probably left. Because there's going to be people that are like, we don't want to be associated with you because these words are attached to your name. And he's going to lose work from it. And whatever King's intentions were, which probably were to virtue signal, he damaged this guy's career. And Tom King's a fucking millionaire, I'm sure by now, from all his work on Batman and Mr. Miracle and all that other stuff. He was one of the premier god-awful writers at DC. DC and Tom King are responsible for damaging his career. So they need to be punished for that, and civil litigation is probably the best way. Somebody's got to push back on this crap, and Jay Lee probably has the money to do it.
Estimated net worth for Tom King is $1 to $5 million.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He was on Batman for almost 10 years, and he's been writing a bunch of other high-profile stuff where he's getting residuals off a lot of the stuff. So I'm not surprised, but he needs to be punished for this. And
into the void he goes. Fuck him.
Well, I'd be fine if he never wrote a comic book again, but I'm not going to read his crap either way, so it doesn't really matter.
I agree, Jack. I would be fine if he never wrote another comic book again, but that's because of him as a writer, if you know what I mean, like his therapy journals, I like.
Yeah.
I don't like his writing either, but I think that he's a shitty person too. On top of being a really shitty writer.
He is a shitty person, but his weird, the guy needs psychological help, I think. I think he's a damaged person. But what he did was wrong, and he needs to suffer a consequence for it. Whether it's as extreme as being hurled into the void or just losing that upcoming Batman book. AT&T needs to make it look like he's being punished for doing something wrong. If they don't do that, Jay Lee has a perfect opportunity to sue them for him being an agent of theirs, and it reflects on them that they're okay with what he said. And this is obviously written by a PR
Very much
person
so.
of some kind.
It's succinct. It's to the point. It doesn't make it about him. Either this guy crafted it very well after thinking it through, and you might have a secondary career as a PR person, or yes, it was written by a PR person. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just good enough to check all of the boxes all the way down.
And I know his tweet was archived because I may have done it. So it's still out there if Jay Lee wants to go forward with something. But this what he did was bullshit. It came at a really bad time for Jay Lee, and then to pile on with pictures of his dog and playing with him, that's fucking rude. Tom King's an asshole, and I don't like that he's not suffering a consequence for being a dickhead to this guy who didn't do anything
you guys
wrong.
watch Just Some Guy? You still sub to him? You should see his take on this. Like rains holy hellfire on Tom King. Like, Jesus Christ, Quiz, he makes your opinion seem measured. Because he goes into his past career. It's like, you're a CIA case officer, weren't you? You pussy. You actually think it's the lengths he goes in terms of activities that you were involved in and things of this sort, and your past and so on, and holy Christ, it's
yeah, I'll say it. Tom King's a fucking coward. I don't care if he was in the CIA and fighting the Taliban or whatever. The guy's a fucking coward. This was a cowardly thing to do to somebody, to try and damage their career, to make yourself look good. Like, oh, look how holy and virtuous I am. I'm not associated with these hate groups like this artist. I don't approve of this. Fuck you, dude. You're a fucking pussy.
Well, I was gonna say this all speaks again to the language being used. If I can, refer back to earlier in the night, talking about whisper networks, it's gossip. They're fucking gossipers. There's no hidden like secret cabal going on. It's that these people are insufferable gossips, and these gossipers need to be, proven to be the shitty people that they are.
Jack, it is 1992 that the Death of Superman came out?
Unless he's talking about the 1986 Alan Moore storyline, where whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, where they closed out the Silver Age and started with the post-crisis Superman.
No, I just, I mean, yeah, there's one thing. I mean, Tom King, I don't think we've covered this story. Just Some Guy did a great video, like his videos are generally really, really good. And also, sub to Dan Fan. So fucking awesome. Of all people, who turned me on to Dan Fan? One Ton Hammer. What the hell is Hammer doing watching this stuff? It was
I think I know what I was doing watching her. So
wow.
What Hammer was. Kind of nerd girl.
She is.
What's up? What's up, Dan Fan?
Is, but I'll say this. Yosemite.
Well, she said right away it was a joke if you read the pinned tweet. Or the pinned comment, rather.
No, it wasn't a joke. It wasn't a joke. She had a brain fart.
Jack, by the way, thanks. I was going to reach out to see if she wanted to do something. Not anymore. You fuck.
Hey, I got something we could do.
Stop it. You're making...
we're going to paint minis, you weirdo.
God, you suck. Holy shit. I was like, I thought maybe she might want to come on the show or something, but I guess...
That pretty girl ain't never coming on our show. What are you talking about? Are you high? She's gonna watch one episode and be like, I don't want anything to do with these assholes.
Let me tell you something. Some like behind the scenes conversation. The amount of times that we have had the discussion where we're like, wouldn't it be great to... Yeah, they won't touch us with a 10-foot.
We're a little bit too raw,
and it's not even we're edgy. It's just we cuss too much and we get too angry. Like, that's really what it comes down to, right? Because it's taking our offline conversations and bringing them online more or less. This is what they sound like when we're sitting around talking, right? Yeah. And so it's like a Chris from Comic Tropes, another great channel, but his stuff is real. It's real laid back. It's real chill. I love his material. Yeah, he wouldn't touch us with a 10-foot fucking pole if you listen to 5 minutes of this stuff. And I'm like, that's too bad. It's like, it's...
So what do you think of this storyline? Oh, well, it's pretty good. Blah, blah, blah. Intellectual stuff. What do you think? Oh, I think that guy's a pussy.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Oh, what? Real quick, thank you, Pete. Who says correct? Thank you, sir.
Oh shit. So I got off on something that I did want to point out. A Rough City podcast made a great line where it's just, Jesus, tweets are more important than oxygen. Yes, it is so much of it. No, Rough City podcast. You're absolutely right. It's the and he makes another other comments like, it's like, so what? We take all tweets as truth these days, and yes, unfortunately, like, it relates to what I was saying before in that video that I'm trying to put together. And I'm trying to make it work on Fuck the Fame, where it's a sense of people don't build, like in current year, a lot of people don't build a skill set and the ability to do something and then go on the internet. There's a lot of people that do that in reverse. It's a big thing inside of hip hop. Build an online following and then start recording music and then putting it out. Tekashi 6ix9ine, that's how he did it. Before he ever laid down one vocal, the guy had developed this huge controversial following on Instagram, setting up, set up merch lines and all of this other garbage. And it's like, let's create fame before we create anything else. Gail Simone, who hadn't done anything in a long while, like in terms of creation, she did create a skill set and a catalog of work. But the reason she was continually hired was because of the size of her following on social media at the time that had become the important thing. And that's what bugs me. So Santos, let's just say, for the sake of argument, for one reason or another, she got booted off of Twitter. That would be an extreme blow to her career. Like, extreme blow. Because a large part of what she does is social media. And that's why she's getting hired, because of the following and stuff. You think she got hired to be an editor with that esports company because of her spectacular editing and administrative skills? Fuck no. It was because of her online reputation. So, anywho, I don't like it that it's like that, Rough City, but shit, you're not wrong in your observation.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember that a lot of these people are kind of antisocial, and their followers, they want to blend in, and social media is how they do that. Like, that's how they connect with people. So they need that. It is like their oxygen. They need that outreach, because that's all they can. Only way they know how to get attention. It's unhealthy, but that's how a lot of these people seem to operate.
Yeah. And you get this the Assassin of the Gray, Warlord Raz of Chaz. I thought for a second he was suggesting there should be a comic around him, which reminded me that somebody earlier had asked, do you think that they're going to do, Marvel Comics is going to do 1619 project in comic book form? Yep, I do. Yeah, I absolutely do. And people say, oh, don't give them ideas.
Yeah.
We don't need to give them that idea. Everybody is so completely on board with that shit that, America founded in racism and bigotry and worldwide imperial oppression, blah, 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 blah. Like, in other words, rewriting history. You don't think that they're going to put it in comic book form to more adequately inculcate the children with their false doctrine, whatever you want to call it?
If COVID had it hit, they would have done it.
No,
already.
I really do believe
it.
there will be 1619 comics. Why wouldn't there be? It's
for the election season.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to make like a bullshit comic out of like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as a superheroine sort of thing, why wouldn't you do it around 1619, something that's actually won literary awards? You know?
I'd be willing to bet that we'll see a Kickstarter on that. Somebody will do it for like Devil's Due or something if Marvel does.
And again, not that I want it that way. It's just a very predictable outcome.
Yeah, they're deadly predictable.
All right, gentlemen, it's time for some pitches. I actually have to get mine, so if one of you gentlemen could go first, that would be good.
Give me 1 second, and I can go.
Yeah, I've actually got two.
No.
Two? Stop showing off, Quiz.
Yeah. No.
Okay. If you're going to do two, fine. But I'll make you a deal. You got to be 4 times as quick. All right.
I will. So
Excuse me.
the first one here is written by Al Grant, penciled by Val Simax, and colored by Francisco Ponzi.
Fuck.
Yes, this is a scheme. First pitch is Lobo the Duck. I had to bring this one up because Jack was talking about how great the Lobo or the Howard the Duck movie was. So I just had to say this is the actual cool Howard the Duck because he's mixed with Lobo. And for those who don't believe that this is an actual comic, if you notice right up here, it says Amalgam Comics. This is part of the run where they had DC versus Marvel Comics. And then after this sort of cataclysmic battle, they fused the universes, aka amalgamed the universe. So they like all of the different characters are fused to each other in these weird sort of ways. And this one is Lobo the Duck, and it's Howard the Duck, but instead of being Howard the Duck, he's the you know intergalactic bounty hunter badass Lobo. It's really is it's about as deep as it gets, but yeah, it was a fun read. My second one is here. Pull the other one up. The second one is written by Gerard Way and art by Gabriel Ba. My second pick, the not joke,
Mhm.
is Umbrella
Oh, really?
Academy, Apocalypse Suite. Yes, I was remarking to these guys on Twitter the other day that I was watching a Netflix TV show, and it was all about superheroes. And oh, speaking of earlier in the show, we were talking about Bill Willingham. Look at this cover by Bill Willingham. Oh my god, fucking awesome! I love his art. But yeah, no, the story is like about 40 43 children born through immaculate conception who have superpowers, and this eccentric billionaire who also turns out to be a space alien adopts 7 of them to turn them into superheroes, and they go about trying to solve the problems of the world. Art's a little weird, but I actually really thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm not finished reading all of it, but the 3 of 5 issues I have read, I have thoroughly enjoyed. The Netflix TV show is really good too. At least the first season. I know Count Dankula posted on Twitter that the second season good. But the first season that I've not finished watching either is also really good and follows the story of the comic pretty much to a T, which is really interesting because a lot of comic book adapted shows don't tend to follow the comic exactly. But this one does. I'm really enjoying it, and I thought it was worth a pitch. I thought it was really good. Umbrella Academy.
Nice. I Yeah, but the Netflix series has one thing going against it. Yes.
Bonk. Yeah,
Yep.
Ellen Page is in it, but it's funny because Ellen Page is plays number 7, and number 7's superpower is that there is nothing special about her.
But the reason why I'm
That's
against
her
it, though,
enormous
is it's just
forehead.
extending this moron's career. I mean,
Yes,
what
but
she's
I
doing
think
now
it's
is like spending all of her time making LGBTQ documentaries that nobody watches but are screened at the Cannes Film Festival because yeah.
No, I can tell you how that happened. She went into the office at the festival, and they're like, "We're not showing your stupid movie." And she's like, "If you don't, I'll headbutt you." And then she
And they feared not only for their lives, but the reverberations it would strike all of their ancestors for the size of her forehead was so great.
exactly.
How many you got for us, Jack?
I have this all worked out in my head just because it doesn't make sense in reality.
What?
headbutt people so hard her ancestors.
Wouldn't that be great
Yeah.
if that was an actual
It-
superpower? Like in a
Yes,
comic,
it's
I'm gonna
got-
punch your
It's
ancestors.
got a name.
I'm gonna.
It's got a name. It's a temporal headbutt.
Temporal.
I will make them suffer in the afterlife. You don't want that, do you?
She can choose whether it goes to the ancestors or the
Oh.
descendants.
Oh, you don't want you don't want your
Ooh.
first child to be
ripples
having a
through
headache
time.
for their entire youth, do you? It's,
Exactly. Your kid will suffer a head injury shaped like my ginormous.
okay, this got
forehead.
weird fast. What do you got for us, Jack?
All right. Do you guys know who John Jakes is?
Yeah, I bought weed off him
Yeah, he
once.
wrote The North and the South.
What?
He wrote The North and the South. Civil War epic that's widely acclaimed. Okay, anyway.
You're the only English major here, Jack.
Uh, Patrick Swayze was in the TV adaptation.
Really?
Anyway, in the 90s, everybody was getting comic books. And John Jakes came up with the concept of the Vulcan Empire. And this is from Techno Comics in 1995, written by Kate Worley and John Watkiss did the pencils and inks. They did some early computer coloring in this, but the art's really funky, as you can tell. Got a real weird style. I don't like the interior art that much, but the actual storyline is great. It's about this family of garbage collectors, and they've been doing this for like 1,000 years. They've been hauling trash, and they've been dumping trash illegally in a black hole. And suddenly, a bunch of debris comes shooting out and lands on a planet and kills a bunch of people. And there's also a lot of family drama. Like they're trying to hide the fact that there's like mixed lineage because they're trying to get a deal with the Arcadians, who are real big on racial purity. And there's all this intrigue and plots. Like this is the secret relative because he's mixed race. Like he's half Azorian, half human, and that's a big no-no. So they have to hide him away. And this guy was writing a family history about them, and of course that revealed some no-no details. It's a real interesting kind of political thriller. Not really your typical comic book. It's not a superhero book. It's more of a story arc with this family and their various internal dramas and how they end up feuding against each other because one person's friends were killed in that incident on Vega, and somebody else is trying to cover it up. It's despite what the family patriarch said. It's a really in-depth story. There's not a lot of violence. It's mostly just about the characters and all their machinations. If they ever do a sequel to this, I hope Dan Abnett writes it because it really seems like something to be really good at. But the art has this weird kind of weird Kirby boxiness to it, but at the same time, it's got kind of these vague lines. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the art, but I really, really like the story. I thought it was a lot.
I'm sorry, I forgot the year. When did it start? Started in
1995.
95.
Yeah, it's only 6 issues long. I mean, how much drama can you have around garbage collecting? But they
Yeah.
do a surprisingly good job of like they're high in the social circles. Like the one lady's trying to manipulate her niece into marrying somebody for family connections, and there's this other niece that's in love with a commoner, but she has to hide the fact that she's who she is because it would be a stigma where she's at. It's a whole ordeal, but it's actually a really interesting story about garbage collectors.
Well, the art is great, fantastic.
I I like the covers. The same guy did the covers and did the interior art,
Uh-huh.
but this just isn't a style I like. But I didn't hate it. It's serviceable. It just wasn't my thing.
Well, it's there's a lot to be said about people that like to rag on digital art. This
Yeah,
is like the precursor to digital art because there's not hatching, not a
yeah,
lot of hatching. There's a little bit of hatching on that, but
yeah.
yeah, no, the interior art doesn't have a whole lot of hatching.
Techno was one of those companies that was experimenting a lot with like computer coloring. You
Mhm.
could tell this is early computer coloring
Yeah,
'cause it's
dot
got
matrix.
yeah, it's got weird saturation too. But it kind of fits the like surrealness of the theme. So I actually enjoyed the story quite a bit, and you can find this in dollar bins. I pulled these out of
God,
dollar
dollar
bins,
bins rock.
but I've seen them in
They-
They
yeah.
do. They really do.
You can find some really cool stuff in the dollar bin. But I mean, honestly, I've seen these in 50-cent boxes before. But I was reading a different techno comic that I'm going to be reviewing next month, and I was like, well, I'll try some of their other stuff. And I grabbed this one out of the dollar bin because I thought, why not? And I was really impressed with it. I'd never read this before, and I was only vaguely aware that it even existed. And I was really surprised by how much fun I had read. Vulcan Empire from Techno Comics.
Nice. All right. Jack. Pete asks, Who killed Uncle Ben? I say it's Joe Chill. And Quiz says that Joe Chill killed Peter Parker's parents. Who did Joe kill? Who do you think did it?
Joe Chill killed Bruce Wayne's parents.
Yeah, he's an interdimensional parent killer. We're aware of that.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Joe Chill. Well, no, say okay. Gotham City is in New Jersey. It's literally right across from New York City.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that
Gotham
long.
City's in Maryland.
What, really? No,
Yeah.
in the Atlas, it was in New Jersey.
Oh, they must have changed it then. It used to be Maryland.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because when I was looking at the Atlas, it's literally right across the bay from New York.
Flint Marko. Jesus, there's a
Flint Marko killed him in the movie.
No, it's just
not
it's
in the
a
comics.
name. I mean, Mountain Man Marko from the comic books.
Sandman.
Remember? Like, God, that takes me back. Gee.
No, Flint Marko's the Sandman.
Yeah. Well, the Sandman was the guy who killed Uncle Ben in Spider-Man 3. I don't think that's correct, though.
Actually, the reason I said Joe Chill, I mean, it's a good and legitimate question. I simply do not remember. Shadow Faced Man? Like, I'm sure they've eventually retconned a name for him, though. I don't specifically recall what it is.
Yeah, he was the burglar.
The burglar, yeah. Let's go with that.
Yeah, no, that was the character.
Yeah,
he was never named.
But
no, he was named.
That's what I mean. Like,
apparently.
you don't think he was retcon named afterwards? I was almost certain of it. I mean, you nerd busted me, Pete. I don't know is the answer. You got.
I just looked it up. He actually does have a name.
Walter Hardy. Yeah.
No, it's Dennis Carradine.
Huh.
The Spider-Man there was a cartoon that named him Walter Hardy, Dennis Carradine there's an issue where the guy actually dies.
Yeah, when Peter Parker twisted his head off. No, wait a minute, I made that up.
There's a couple different ways
that was a fantasy I had. Never mind. Okay, well, I got a pitch to do. Hold on, we'll carry on with.
Wait, hold on. The murder of Uncle Ben is possibly the most notable in comic book history. He's also one of the few comic book deaths that has never been reversed in terms of official continuity. He was a member of the Big Three alongside Jason Todd, womp womp, and Bucky, womp womp, in Captain America, whose deaths, along with Ben's, gave rise to the phrase, "No one in comics stays dead except for Bucky, Jason Todd, and Uncle Ben." Oops!
No,
okay, nobody interfered with your
No,
pitches. I'm going to go ahead and do mine. Daredevil.
I'm sorry.
Daredevil 165. I started reading Daredevil again, and I'm loving it. And I was in a big rush to get up to 158 specifically, and 165 in particular. Does anyone know why? 165 is the issue where Frank Miller took over as both artist and writer.
Oh, God.
This is the beginning of a bold new era for our Matt Murdock. Let's say Crime Alley. I got a lot of Batman on the brain tonight. Hell's Kitchen, Hellion, Vigilante, and Lawyer by Day. This is where it takes off. And interestingly, it made me think back. Is that what Miller did? Just because he creates the Kingpin as the great nemesis for Daredevil, and then the first issue that he's writing Daredevil, he takes another Spider-Man villain, and is that what you just did your whole career, Miller? Is just when you're rewriting Daredevil, and he really did like recreate a whole new mythology for Daredevil, much like he did with Wolverine and Batman. It's almost like the man's a fucking genius or something. But anyway. This doesn't read like your true grit noir Miller of later years. He hadn't developed into that style yet, but it's great. It is rather dark, and it's you have Matt Murdock going into the pool hall as it begins, and it's like, look, I'm looking for a man who did some things, and he's doing the detective work. You sense the noir influences, the noir detective influences on Miller's work right away, because he kind of turns Daredevil into that, starts giving him shades of Sam Spade or what have you, you know. And it takes on a darker edge because I can draw him like this. Comics were not like, look how just inked the fuck out everything is. That not common. Yeah, an odd thing for the extreme early 80s for it to be going in this direction. Anyway, the story is he finds out that the guy who is behind what he's looking for is Dr. Octopus, Otto Octavius. There's a lot of, why aren't you going to help me? Aren't you supposed to be a good man? Heather, please let me help you. Help! Is that what you think? You've destroyed my life! Like all of a sudden, like this, you know, happy-go-lucky swashbuckling Daredevil is all deadly serious, and this is when the story writing for Daredevil really takes off, and arguably stays with ebbs and flows very good up until Mark Waid got his grubby little paws on it. I had so much fun with this classic Daredevil. I'm not saying start reading it around 165, but that is where it gets truly awesome and dark and fun, and it leads from one thing into another. And yes, the next issue features another longtime Spider-Man villain, Black Widow. It's investigatory, and I don't want to ruin too much of the storyline, but it's very talky, action-packed, and dark. I had so much fun with it. Great early comic books writing. What era is this? This is in Golden. It's not even so. What is this? This is Awesome era? Is there even like a metal name for it? It's not gold. It's not silver. What is it? Copper? This is the copper. This is the copper era of Awesome. Great stuff. Can't recommend it enough. So yeah, Daredevil 165, The Man Without Fear. Available on Comixology, or it's going to be expensive. You go to try and buy a paper copy. Fortunately, I just thought about that. This is not going to be your.
Yeah, just get the trade paperback for like $40 with a whole bunch
there
of issues in
are the Klaus Johnson, Frank Miller. Klaus Johnson is his longtime collaborator and inker. In 3 trade paperbacks of Miller's entire run on Daredevil that are available in trades. Yeah, good call. Definitely get that if you want. And what a lot of fun, man.
Thank you, Pete. Correct. Smiley face.
Yeah, great choice, Polly.
Well, thank you. And Quiz needs to come around to not be that guy.
I will never. I will never.
You like Dark Knight Returns. Quit your bullshit.
Dark Knight Returns is okay. All-Star Batman and Robin has ruined me for Frank Miller for forever. I also didn't mind 300. I thought 300 was actually a really good comic. But All-Star Batman and Robin was awful. It is the epitome of bad.
What kills me is that, you love your X-Men and your Wolverine when half of Wolverine's mythology is a Miller creation. I'm just
saying that the best X-Men comics were written by Chris Claremont, not Frank Miller.
I just don't understand how someone could have so much
right.
Oh, I'm full of hate. I am full.
And while we're
of
on
hate.
that topic, give RoboCop 2 another chance. It's actually really good.
No.
All right, there it is. Chat. Thank you very much to everybody who came. If you're listening in the future, please like and subscribe if you're so inclined. Follow me on Twitter. You get to find out when we're going live within minutes of us going live. So that's probably a good thing. I'm simply at Polly_Dub. But all of our social media contacts are in the description, including our Streamlabs, which brings me to Evolve Potato. Thank you for posting our links during the whole stream. Man, that's always appreciated. Chat was actually really funny today. There's a bunch of bullshit and keeping me distracted and stuff. It was great. And good questions and all of that. And also, if you're listening in the future, please leave comments. We get a chance to read them all and answer most, although I haven't been answering them lately because I've been using WaterFox as my browser, and YouTube is no longer allowing WaterFox to go into Creator Studio, so I've had to switch to Firefox, and I'm not liking it. Fuck you, YouTube. What are you doing? Anyway, thank you to everyone who donated. You guys are awesome.
Also, yes, thank you very much for the people who donated.
Final thoughts?
You guys are awesome. Like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to our individual channels, because me and Quiz have channels too.
Yes. I would also say, I think you'd be surprised about where you can find inspiration for new comic book reads. Umbrella Academy to me was entirely new. I'd never heard of Umbrella Academy until I was just browsing Netflix one day, saw that, saw the show talking about superheroes. I'm like, I wonder what, if this is a comic book, and then found out, fuck, it is a comic book. It started off as a comic book. So, yeah, when that kind of stuff strikes your fancy, like if you watched Walking Dead the first season or something like that, finding out that that was a comic book, and then going and reading that comic until it fucking fell apart. That's ways that you can find new comic books to indulge in. Never cast that into the wind.
Fair enough. All right. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, have a good night.